This episode of An Unexpected Podcast is brought to you by
the Donovan family of Evergreen Park, Illinois. Enjoy!
Thank you.
Hello, friends, and welcome to an Unexpected Podcast. I'm Ez,
And I'm Lane.
and we're talking Tolkien.
We're coming to you from the Shire of America, the beautiful state of Ohio, in a little village called Amanda.
Yeah, and I got a big disclaimer for everybody. We are filming, recording this.
Where are the cameras?
God, I hope we're not
Where are
filming
they?
this. Out the gate. It's Friday the 13th,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
And so that's a little spooky.
It is spooky.
You know?
As spooky as that new intro. You think we freaked some people out?
I think we did. Sorry about that. We had to it got a little weird.
Yeah.
But isn't that... Lane played that for me, and I was like, this is unreal.
He's heard the banjo start, and he was like, what is this
What's
going to be? And then he heard the word Amanda, and I was like, that's about Amanda.
Yeah.
That song is about Amanda, Ohio, which you guys know as the Shire of America.
Right.
Right?
If there's one thing you learn
that's
from
it.
this podcast.
That is the most important part of the show.
That's all you need to know.
That's it. The podcast is after that. There's nothing else.
Right. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, we'll see you.
We're done. The podcast is over.
That's good. Okay. A couple of things here. We're going to jump into quick counsel.
Let's get into it.
And we got a couple of things to talk about. It's a sort of also a show update, I think, too. Some
Yes.
things we want to kind of talk about and update. But first of all, before we do all of that, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing awesome.
Are you?
I'm doing awesome. I'm having a good time being with you. Like when I have time with you, everything else just kind of melts away, man.
Yeah.
You come here, and I feel like I see, Gandalf's wagon coming through the cutting, and you just show up when you show up. Never early or late.
Right.
You're always right on.
Right.
Precisely when you mean to be.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, we had a good night tonight. We had a healthy alternative to China buffet.
Right.
It was not the windows. Were those windows crystal clear?
They were. We also got shorted on the steak, though.
Yeah.
The hibachi. So we went hibachi.
We got the short end of the steak.
Yeah. But, wow. That was funny.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah, that was good.
We got some hibachi, a little hibachi to go place in Lancaster. So that was pretty delicious. Good way to start off our. Yeah, I'm good, man. I mean,
yeah,
I'm really. We were talking before how we're kind of in a fog.
Mm-hmm.
You and I both came in tonight. Just we needed to talk to each other.
Work's been crazy.
Work's been crazy. Rugby's in full swing. Life's just nuts. You're on 30,000 podcasts. Not to do any plugs.
Wow.
But
no, please don't.
Life's busy.
Yeah.
Life's busy.
Hey, here's something that's kind of interesting for everyone who's listening. If you've been listening before and you've been on the Facebook page or the group, I'm podcasting with like a different person tonight. Like literally the 13-year-old version of he has shaved his beard. And I'm telling you guys, to me, it's actually not that weird. But everyone all of my other friends who know Lane, they're like, whoa. It's just
that's weird because they knew me in high school.
I know, but
so shouldn't that be a normal
they
thing?
didn't know you I knew. We were a lot closer.
That's
I saw
true.
you a lot more, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you came back into their life, in social media,
It was all bearded.
it was all beard.
And I usually do one shave a year just to kind of let it air out.
Yeah.
Let the face breathe a little bit.
Right.
And then it just comes back and I just keep it because I enjoy having a beard. It's fun.
Yeah.
But so the reason I shaved this time was because my wife, her class was a little out of sorts when she was on maternity leave.
Sure. Yeah.
So I was trying to think of ways I could help. I'm like, what if we did something crazy? I was like, what if they earned 500 dojo points, class dojo points, that you could shave me in class? She's like, all right, let's see if they would be interested. They were. They earned 500 points. Yeah. And she shaved me in class, as weird as that sounds. And the kids loved it. They were cracking up. They're like, oh my gosh. Most of them looked at me like, who?
Do you see, the thing is, if you wouldn't have done that in front of them, do you think they would have
No, they wouldn't.
Right?
I mean, because kids know me because I'm in so many different classrooms and throughout the building.
Right.
And I had kids come up to me and they're like, who are you? And they were dead serious. And then I would start talking and they got even more confused. They were like, wait, you kind of sound like this guy, Mr. Smith.
Yeah.
I was like,
but you look 13.
And they're calling me, in the hallway now, they go, hi, teenager.
Oh.
Hi,
Okay.
teenager. Hi, Mr. Teenager. I'm
Wow.
like, oh my God, how long is this going to last?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to grow it back quickly.
Babyface McGee over here.
Babyface McGee.
Oh God, Jesus. Oh man. Anyways, that's cool. That was actually I saw that on Facebook and I was like, yeah, that's kind of cool. You know,
Yeah.
wow, geez, there's Lane again.
You
What's
gave me
up?
the least reaction of anyone. It was great because most of the people most of my friends only know me as like having that, and you were just like, hey man, what's going on?
Yeah.
Nothing. It was good. It felt kind of
Now
nice.
here's a question for you. So the kids were a little whatever, right? How was Winnie? Like with the
Dude,
whole...
and that was the biggest thing. People were like, oh, she's gonna cry, she's gonna freak out. Nothing. I went.
It's all smell. I think with babies,
and I think my voice too.
Yep.
But I didn't even talk. I went up. She was laying down, and I was after work, so I came in and I got right over top of her. I said, I just smiled at her, and she just looked at me and smiled right back.
Yeah.
Nothing. I was like, I love you.
Yeah.
You're the best.
She knows.
Yes,
She's an angel.
She is an angel. And you had your first hold today. You got to hold her for the first time.
I got really nervous.
Ezra was like, "Oh, how do I do this? Where do I put this hand?" Sarah was like, "You're fine. Just don't drop her." He goes, "I'm done. I'm done. I'm going down." Then after that, you held her for like 20 seconds, and he comes to me and he goes, "How do you hold her like that all the time, man?"
Well, not like the holding
It's
part.
hard. It's
I was
awkward.
Like, which way do I hold her? With her back on me or like her stomach? You know, on me. I didn't know. So because when you handed her to me, she was like facing me. So I was like, what do I do here? Like, hand it to me backwards.
And you have a niece.
I know. And
that's the crazy thing.
It was. I was like, it was weird because like the way I handle her now is so much evolved, right? And so different.
Well, it's different.
So,
she's like a little booger now.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways,
that's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, some show updates, I guess.
We have some show news.
Yeah.
So, like fate would allow. When our last podcast. Oh my gosh! When our last episode came out, like the next day or the day before, a bunch of show news broke.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, I don't know how much I want to buy into this. It's kind of interesting. We had a lot of you on the Facebook group though post links and stuff, so a lot of it's there. I'm not going to go into too much depth about it because we want to really focus on the reread this week.
We'll get there though.
We will.
Because
I'm not.
We packed this episode though.
Yes.
We've got a lot in this, and so especially coming off of the in the House of Tom Bombadil, there's just so much more to talk about.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. So
we're just going to kind of we'll go over it briefly, and maybe we'll just kind of get more of Ezra's thoughts because I've shared a little bit. So the new rumors that are out now is that WB Warner Brothers is going to be involved to ensure visual continuity with the films. So they want the show, I guess, to have a very similar feel and look to the films.
So are they hitting up Tammy?
I mean, one would believe, right?
Right.
And especially if they're thinking heavy prosthetics. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, that would lead me to think that there's going to be a lot of the same production. Weta will be involved.
Yeah.
You'll have, I mean, why would you not have the same stunt people? Are you going to film it in New Zealand? I mean, if you're going to do anything with the Shire, you're going to have to go back to Matamata. You're going to have to.
Yeah.
If you want to look the same. So WB's involvement there.
Okay.
And then, so it's kind of like a 3-point thing that we can discuss all at once. I'll lay them all out.
Sure.
Peter Jackson is being rumored to be involved somehow. Okay. Whether it's not really detailed how, whether that it will be as a supervisor, a producer, maybe he'll guest direct. Not really sure how that'll pan out or in what capacity he'll be there. Mm-hmm. And then sort of one of the articles that one of our friends, one of our uppers shared on the group is that it might focus around an Aragorn origin story as the focus.
Wow.
So you tell me what you think.
Sure.
I could tell you what I think, but it's not going to be very entertaining.
Well, yeah, and like I said, we're going to, as we get closer and closer, we're going to do a couple special episodes. And and by the way, there's a poll out. We're thinking about doing a weekly show.
Weekly shows.
Please let us know if you'd like us to do that. I think
yeses are winning.
Yeah, yeses are winning right now. So I'm in favor of doing it. So
and we kind of want to build that up. Do we want to say when we wanted to trial that? We were going to do like a trial run. You want to keep that secret? Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
Well, we can see what people think first. If people are really against it, then I don't want to.
Sure.
change things.
Sure.
But I think we would love to get more out there, and there's just so much more, especially as we get closer, man. With the show news and stuff, there's gonna be more. So we want that opportunity to get the reread.
Okay, let me lead with the negative then. Okay,
Sure.
I don't know about this.
Mhm.
I love the movies.
Sure.
Right, love them.
Yeah.
Absolutely, they're my favorite movies of all time.
Right.
But I'm really, again, like, to my own surprise, I'm very open to a whole new direction.
Okay.
So to tie in all of these elements from the trilogy and from The Hobbit, I feel really conflicted.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's not really. I was excited because I felt like it was going to be something new,
Right.
something different, something maybe that is just as good, but in a different perspective, kind of thing, you know.
Mhm.
And so with this, I'm thinking, okay, well, and you're talking about Aragorn's biggest fan, bro.
Yeah, I know you.
I'm obsessed with
Yep.
Aragorn. I will, no joke, if I'm presented with a difficult situation, I go, man, WW80.
Yeah.
What would Aragorn do? And I sit and think, like, my teenage years were guided by the principles of
I
Aragorn.
know they were. I
Yeah,
know.
absolutely.
And you hashtagged it. Yeah.
That's right. And I would say, what would Aragorn do right now?
Yeah.
What would he choose? He'd always fight for good. And
Yeah.
I'd try to base my decisions on that.
Yeah.
I don't want an Aragorn origin story. I don't want that to be the initial show idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Later down the line, cool, that's fine. But I don't want that.
Yeah.
I know who Aragorn is. Viggo Mortensen did. I mean, dude. I mean, it's the greatest performance of all time, in my opinion. His performance as Aragorn, nothing will ever beat that. And not that I don't want to see someone else take on that role. That's fine. I don't want it to be the focus for a show. And then WB's involvement, that's cool. New line and all that stuff, like making it look the same, that's cool. But I kind of wanted to see a different interpretation. So that's also kind of conflicting. And then Peter Jackson being involved is awesome. But I just don't want it to be like I also kind of want PJ to be able to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like all he did Lord of the Rings to do movies he wanted to do, and he's just kind of gotten like sucked into Middle Earth.
Right.
And I don't know if he really wants to be there, and nor should he be. I mean, like, he might want someone else to take the reins. He tried doing that with Guillermo del Toro. Oh yeah, that was the April Fool's joke we got had on too. He is not involved.
Right. Yeah.
That's great. We were actually excited about that, but I don't know. I'm mixed. I of course will love it and support it. But it's not news I was hoping to hear. So that's why I sound a little whatever.
Mm-hmm. No, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
Now, see.
You give it to me. Come on. What do you want?
Honestly, man, it could be, all of this could be very unexpected.
I know.
That we could end up loving that origin story.
I know. And that's, you're right.
You know, but here's the thing. I'm kind of with you. That is not what I thought.
No.
Was going
Is
to
it
be,
what you were hoping for?
No, I wasn't
No.
hoping for that.
Right.
I don't even really know what I'm hoping for, to be quite frank.
Well, maybe that's part of the problem too.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know what I want.
There you go.
Right.
Right.
And so maybe this is exactly what I need. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
but my thing with that is would it not, and you listeners, people in our group will know more than I, but wouldn't that involve a lot of the, some of the old cast members in his story?
I mean,
in his origin story a little bit? Not
if,
a lot,
well,
but I guess.
If they work it the way Peter Jackson did with The Hobbit, where he worked in a lot of the trilogy people who weren't really, I mean, like he brought
Like
Orlando Bloom back.
Yeah, like how far back are we going? You know what I mean? Is my question.
I mean, he's 87 when they do Lord of the Rings, so
yeah,
not in the terms of an elf's lifespan, not that long, right?
Right.
Yeah,
So,
I
I don't
mean,
know.
you'd have to have Hugo Weaving as Elrond,
Those are the kind of things I was thinking about. Now, and they could redo all of that,
right?
but it would
Liv Tyler would have to be
But to
Arwen.
me, so what you're saying right now,
Mm-hmm.
to me, is the reason why I think anything that's too close to that, unless you're just going to really reinterpret it, like you have said.
Yeah.
If you want to just go at this and reinterpret it and give us a TV show and really just go deep.
Yep.
Versus broad strokes, go deep, mind the depths.
Right.
That's
Something
fine. Recast everybody and have at it if you want to. Okay. But if not, I mean, then we're going to move away from this a little bit. And so we don't have
Preach it.
Gandalf showing up, or if he does show, he's rumored. We hear about him, but do we really need to see him? I don't know.
I mean, and that's the thing too.
And I love Gandalf.
I know. I know we are talking about our favorite characters and saying we don't necessarily need them. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's a lot of comfort and trust in the greater universe that Tolkien has created, right? That we can be like, I mean, dude, because any other, if it's like, I don't know, I don't know other fandoms, but it seems like most other fandoms like, oh, I gotta have Aragorn. If I have Aragorn, I'm not watching.
Yeah.
Or I need Gandalf. Gandalf, I don't care. I don't give a damn. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's that in Middle Earth as well. Right. But I'm thinking like, I've had the best sampling of Aragorn. It can be something else. I don't care.
Right.
And I think maybe the reason I'm so like mixed emotions or just kind of whatever is it's not what we least expected and it's not what we most expected. It's just kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
It's like it's not like a reboot of The Lord of the Rings and an exploration of the turning the book into a show, and it's not like The Second Age.
Yeah.
Or the origin story, the Silmarillion or whatever. It's just kind of Aragorn story.
I actually kind of thought that's what they were going to do, is go origin story with not with Second Age or First Age. And hear me out.
Yeah.
It would draw a lot of attention to those books.
It would.
And, people would dive into them more. And honestly, I think you and I would, we start here where we're comfortable and where we fell in love.
That's right.
And so, sometimes things that come up in this chapter take us back to those stories, and that's fine. That's cool. But, it'd be interesting to see if that's just what they're going to do. So we'll get more news on that. Let's talk about though what I think you had a couple fellas in your rugby club that had some thoughts they want to share.
Yes, I do.
Right?
So, rugby season is in full swing. And we've got some downtime in between matches. So I actually talked to some of my buddies and just kind of asked them, we're on side tangents. We're talking about, our passions and stuff. And I said, what do you guys think about, the Lord of the Rings TV show? What do you want? What do you like? So I did record this on my phone. So there's a little bit of an intro, but we can play it and then we can just kind of have it out.
Yeah. And we've never really done anything like this. So if we jack it up, sorry guys.
Hopefully we don't jack it up. So this first one is Rocco and Dave. I'll just go ahead and let it play.
Sweet.
All right, I'm here with Rocco Donato and my man Dave Cochran. We are on a tangent conversation in the car, and we're going to talk. We've been talking about Lord of the Rings. We've been talking about Star Wars. We've been going crazy. I wanted to bring up the topic of the ever controversial Lord of the Rings Amazon series that's coming out. I just want to know, guys. I want to know what you would want out of a Lord of the Rings TV show. If you know that there's a Lord of the Rings TV show coming out, what do you want? Do you want a reboot of the movies? Do you want a gap filled in between The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings, or do you want something totally different that we've never seen before? It doesn't even have to. You don't have to know what you want if it's different. You just have to say, I want something different. So whoever's ready to go first, let's just hear it. Let's hear it.
I mean, I feel like if they're going to do something, and I feel like it's going to be very Game of Thrones-esque, where it's going to be like you're starting right in the middle of a story, and then they're going to start bringing it into where these things happened before. So I feel like you really want to start with the Silmarillion. I just feel like you should start from the beginning and work your way through it. Don't do all these like knockoffs. Just keep going. Just like make a million seasons. Like it in The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead has no plans on ending.
Right.
And I would just love to see that with a show where it just starts from the beginning and then it ends.
I like that.
And it would, like, even if it takes 20 years for the show to end, like,
I like that.
I would like that a lot.
Can't get enough Lord of the Rings. Great thoughts, Rocco. Dave? It could be a reboot of the movies. I mean, you think the movies would do better in a TV show format?
I don't.
He's being very careful with his words here.
Yeah,
I wish you guys could see his eyes.
Have you seen the extended versions of all the movies?
No.
Okay, so I feel like the extended versions of the movie does a lot better of a job explaining
Absolutely.
what the movies are all about.
Those stories can only get longer, and it makes the longer they are, the better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like you need to watch the extended movie. That's why I don't feel like they necessarily need to do a whole reboot.
See, and here's where I'm kind of weird. The initial thought was, I was like, please don't redo the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah.
But after you read the books, you get into the books and you see all the stuff that got cut out because the movies had to be a certain length. I don't know, man. I think it would be kind of cool to see a new Gandalf, to see a new Aragorn, to see the old forest and all this extra stuff that we can go in and explore. That could be, if you do 7 seasons and there's 6 episodes a season that are each an hour and a half long, you do the math. How many hours is that in Middle Earth? That's a lot of time.
That is a lot of time.
I was buying time for you to be able to share what you want.
I just hope they keep it on a grand scale like they did the movies.
Okay.
Yeah, so, like, you know, we don't get one character that we're following all the time, and there's just different little episodes where, yeah, this happens and that happens. I want them to keep it on a grand scale, because that's what makes it awesome. The great big fights, you know, these great big unattainable odds that they're fighting against. Like, that's what makes the movies and the stories so incredibly good, is there's all these different moving pieces. If you get on, you know, if we're just following some little shit in the Shire, I'm going to lose interest. I'm going to lose interest, right? I'm going to lose interest within, you know, a season.
Sure.
Like, I'm going to lose interest.
You want the diversity of the world to be amplified.
Yes.
And key in on.
Now, like I said, I've never read the books, so I don't even know how it is. But I know that the Silmarillion is the beginning of time, and I just feel like that's super badass. I feel like that's where it should start. I feel like that would just pull everything.
Wow, sweet.
That's a little of our conversations. That's kind of what we talk about when we're not playing rugby.
I mean, that's awesome. That was on your trip up to your rugby meet.
It's actually on the way back.
Okay,
we're on the way back. We're driving from Toledo, so 3 hours in the car, and we got to Middle Earth. So I thought Rocco and Dave both brought up some really interesting things. Rocco says he wants an origin story. He said he wants something that starts from the beginning and goes all the way through, instead of doing spin-off stuff. That's a valid point that a viewer and a fan has. And then Dave brought up something interesting that I thought too. Dave would not be a fan of my idea of a Shire drama.
No, he would not.
He would not like that.
He was not interested in that at all. So
he wants it to be grand, and I think most people, I think that's probably a pretty unpopular view that I have. So I think that was cool that he brought that up. You know, wants it to be diverse, wants it to be epic and big, and of course that's what we want out of Lord of the Rings. So
absolutely,
thought that was really cool and worth sharing. I got one more. You want to do that real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Is that okay? We've got Ryan talking here. And I'll let Ryan go ahead and take it. Wow, you want to repeat that?
I'm not a huge Tolkien.
All right, then I'll see you soon.
Wow, I think you need to talk right in there, sir. Say that again. Go ahead.
Lane, put your pants back on.
Wow, that's getting cut. So Ryan, in a Lord of the Rings television series that Amazon is going to be producing, what would be? This is what I asked Dave and Rocco. What do you want?
I'm always a fan of to see how they cast the different characters.
Okay.
I've always been a fan of them.
Okay. So here's a question. Some of the actors who played them in the movies are being questioned on whether they would return, and some of them are down for it. You want fresh cast. Even if they're characters we've seen before.
What do you mean by that?
Like Gandalf. You don't want Ian McKellen playing Gandalf.
Ian McKellen would be great, but
you want someone fresh.
I think it needs to be fresh. It needs to be a fresh enough thing.
Story-wise, what do you want?
See, that's where we get into.
That's fine. So I mean, so here's what I would ask: do you want something that is tied to what we've already done, or do you want something totally different? Maybe something from like the origins of Middle Earth, or
maybe go back to sort of creation with Sauron and stuff like that.
Ooh, second name stuff. Okay. We had that. We talked about it'd be cool to see Sauron at his height.
Yep.
Just kicking butt and taking names.
And the whole with the power of the rings. And,
yeah.
I'm trying to think. I played Shadowborn. I don't know if you've
yes.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
That's a good story too.
Yeah. So getting to know that.
So it wouldn't even have to be tied to the literature. You're cool if they take liberties, do some different stuff.
Sweet. Yeah, that's actually really cool.
Some good stuff from Ryan too. So,
yeah, that's awesome, man. Okay, that's really cool stuff. That's
and also
you see a variety there.
Yes, and that's kind of what we wanted to show was a scope of, from Ryan's admittedly more of a casual fan, watches the movies. Rocco knows some of the background, more of a fan of, even though he hasn't read the books, he has done some research. And then Dave's also kind of on the more of the movie side.
Right. Yeah.
And so this is also kind of a taste of, we want to incorporate more of your voices too, as we have that.
We got the number.
Yes.
Right? So we'd actually love if you guys would give us a call at, we have a new number. It's a Google voice number. So you can call it anytime. You're not going to wake us up or anything. So, and you can call that. It's 740-422-9395. And there's a cap on that. You can leave a voicemail up to like 3 minutes long. But if you had like a question or something you want to ask, or just thoughts on the show or thoughts on the chapter, I think for our patrons, we've also thrown out the idea that if you want to actually type up and then read in the voicemail, get your voice on here, do like the
summary,
the recap or the summary, either one. So that's been kind of cool,
pretty cool. It's cool hearing your voices on here, your opinions exactly as you tell them to. And that's also, like we were talking about, we want to get your stories that you've shared in your voice to make Bywater post episodes. So there you go. That's what it can be. It can be pretty cool. So
for now, just like the just short little summaries, recap, summary, etc., questions, things like that. So a lot of fun. So,
awesome.
Cool. Awesome, man. All right. On to our biopic.
No new news. It's still in post-production. We'll keep one eye on it.
Okay.
Ready for it to come out. I don't know why it's taking so long. It's a biopic. They must have some pretty heavy-duty World War I sound effects and visual effects and
I'm sure.
Props.
It's a big deal. It's going to be a big production.
Let's just get it out here.
All right, awesome. This is cool. In other corners of the Middle Earth here, we have. Thank you guys for the support on the Facebook group.
It's kind of flying off the shelves, man.
Yeah, I love it.
It's going crazy.
I went to go look for a post, and I'm like, holy crap.
I can't keep up, honestly.
Well, I love it because you can just get in there and dabble. I can see conversations that have been happening all day long, and they weren't dependent upon, it's all you guys, and and the thoughts on there, man. I mean, like, you guys have no idea. It affects what we do when we're doing our reread. Like, we start to think about things differently. We start to, I've read your thread, and so now when I'm reading the chapter, I'm like, let me think here for a second. I rethink things based upon stuff that I read in the group chat. So cool stuff there. So
it's awesome. I mean, that's the cool thing too, is the page is something that we can kind of run, and then the group is something we can just kind of be entertained by. It's amazing. We can pop in and see your stuff, and
absolutely,
it's great.
Well, and as often, I think you've got Christopher Michael and a couple other guys in there who are like leading us in some threads and stuff. So whoever wants to do that, man, we love you guys for that. So thanks so much.
Yes,
and also never forget, it's a safe place just to talk. As much Tolkien as you want. Anything else too? If there's things going on in your life or whatever, you want to throw some stuff out there, you need some extra love and support, we got you. Okay?
That's right. We're a community. We're here for each other, to take care of each other, and so make life better. Make the road easier.
Come on now. Yep. Now we got some. Are you pulling up the?
I am pulling it up right now. I didn't have it up.
That's fine. Cool.
That's what
you wrote it in the script. So now we got some poll results actually, and I kind of almost remember these. You get the old Tom Bombadil versus versus Sauron.
Saying if I don't know if Sauron came after Tom, if Goldberry's honor was on the line.
Right.
We did have a great. Gosh, sorry, my phone is getting so old, man. I got to get a new phone. It's ridiculous.
That's cool. Hey, you want to pull it up?
It'll take me another 10 minutes. I'll be good though.
I mean, I'll tell you the results.
You want to buy some time? Sing a song or something.
I'll tell you the old Tom Bombadil. I'm just kidding. That's
give the people what they want.
No, but those are fun, and I know before you even pull up the results, I'm sure that Tom wins that fight.
49 votes. Tom Bombadil got 80%.
Okay.
The Dark Lord Sauron 20%.
Now what a joke!
I voted for Sauron. You voted for Tom. We were split.
Of course I did.
Split again here.
Yeah.
Some excellent comments on it too.
Well, we'll talk about why Tom won that poll too. So
okay, all right, I like that.
Yeah.
One of my favorite comments though is from Tish Munson. She said Goldberry knows what she's about. She's the river's daughter. The land conforms to water. Water cleanses and it destroys. She has no hesitation defending herself.
Let's go.
And I felt like kind of a moron for even posting that. I was of course.
Yeah.
She doesn't need Tom to fight for her.
No.
She is the river daughter.
Yeah.
So
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Sometimes you get a
yes, I know. Good, different perspective. I think like a man because I am a man. I can't help myself.
Jesus.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I know it's just ridiculous, but
That's
yeah,
cool.
this book and these stories are filled with such strong women, and that needs to be acknowledged.
It does. Preach a little.
GD
Okay.
it.
Now we are going to save something we had on the script that we're going to do some of our. Do we want to save that or not?
What?
Do I need to highlight it on the daggone outline for crying many sakes?
It's a Google shared doc.
Are we
for a
not
reason.
thinking the same thing?
The mini epics, guys, the mini epics are in. We will give you this little taste. So I posted, that we made the order, and a lot of you commented on the page on, I said, who do you think we ordered? And Hannah Kildo Estes is the one who nailed it. She said, Ez had to have gotten Gandalf. Lane had to have gotten Aragorn.
Yeah.
That's who we have. They're actually right over Ez's left or his right shoulder up on my mantle, and they're just sitting there waited. We haven't even taken them out of the box yet. So what we're going to do for a Patreon episode is we're going to do Ez thinks this is just a straight up yawn factory. I think it's pretty good. We're going to do a podcast unboxing of the mini epics.
I love you.
So we're going to take them
You're
out of the
ridiculous.
box. We're going to give you a review. If you go on YouTube, is 90% unboxing videos.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, you're right.
I think I heard an amen out there.
Yeah.
And so I thought, why not do an audio version of an unboxing? Is it weird? Can you see it?
Guys, I will be describing the
Yes, it's
texture
weird.
of
No,
this
you can't.
box.
Then that's the point. We're
To the
gonna.
nth degree.
It'll test our.
We'll be using.
Wow, now I can't even talk.
We'll be using imagery.
Oh
of the
yes, there you go.
Okay.
It'll test our podcasting skills. Honestly, can
really
you
will.
envision what we're talking about? I don't know.
Right.
So,
All right.
but they're beautiful, and if you're thinking about buying one, go ahead and do it. Unless your favorite character hasn't come out yet. I don't know how many they're making, but I'm guessing we'll get the rest of the Hobbits. I'm guessing we'll get a Gandalf the White because Gandalf the Gray is labeled as such. Ez, what do you think? They're gorgeous, aren't they?
They're gorgeous. They are.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to get into them. And actually, I think it will be fun just to kind of, get them out, see what they feel like.
Yeah.
And
the cool thing too, from the pictures anyway, is they're dynamic from every side. Like a lot of those figurines, you set them up forwards.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really spin them around to get other angles. These things, from the pictures anyway, like you turn it, and every angle you turn it, it's something different. Like almost every degree, it changes.
Nice.
They're very dynamic and flowing, and there's a lot going on. So
that's awesome. That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, we'll do that.
All right, cool beans. So we are there. We're ready.
Only been going for about 45 minutes, right?
Yeah. Sorry
It's
about
not
that.
That's what we do.
It's a jam-packed episode. They keep this is why we're going to that weekly format. I'm telling you right now, because we get so many comments and stuff that we want to talk about.
And we can't even share it all, guys.
It builds up.
That's the problem. Is if we shared everything that you guys sent our way, they'd be 5-hour episodes.
I'm down.
I am too. It's just
let's just do.
That's why we want to do the Bywater Post stuff too, and maybe even come with some other kind of show format where it's just like, if people want to call in, like you said, call in and leave anything, something random, just conversation starters. I don't know.
Respond. I got you.
Yeah.
All right, hey, let's dive into this reread though.
Do it.
Because this is actually, we've gotten to see my good man Tom Bombadil for the past 2 chapters. He's been there. He's made an appearance. Okay.
Tom.
And so we're still at his house when we last left off, right?
Yep.
We were disoriented in the forest.
Yeah.
We had some dreams. We put the ring on.
A lot of singing.
There was a lot of singing.
Yep.
Ring didn't bother Tom.
Right.
Some crazy stuff happened, right? So now what's interesting going into this chapter is the difference in the night sleep that they got, right? So their nights were so troubled in this last, not troubled, but they had dreams and prophetic dreams, what have you, and very different sleep that they got at the end of this chapter. But in recap, we wanted to kind of talk about some of the comments that we had in our Facebook group, some of the things that you guys had followed up to in regards to who is Tom Bombadil, okay? And we got some interesting responses, and I think I'll go to those on Facebook, and then we'll talk about an email that we got on Goldberry.
Yes.
So I think Christopher Michael kind of mentioned a couple of things here. He says 2 things. I wonder for years if Tolkien has included Bombadil and Goldberry in order to kind of subtly weave in some bragging on Edith, right, which I thought was kind of neat.
Yep.
Passionately in love with her, and all accounts indicate she felt much the same about him. It feels like this section was almost entirely about Edith via the character of Goldberry.
Yeah,
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I thought it was. I had never thought of it in that perspective, and it makes total sense. I mean, Tolkien is someone who was obsessed with his wife, and in the best possible way. And the tale of Beren and Luthien is about he and her love, and so it would make sense that Tom is like John, and Goldberry is like Edith. Everything he did was to honor and I don't know, just marvel in her beauty, kind of a thing. And I thought it was a great point. Very, very interesting. Something I had never thought of, and it's spot on, man.
It is. It's really it's cool. And when I initially posted the idea of just having people kind of throw out some thoughts on who they thought Tom was, one of the things I mentioned was that perhaps this is a self-insertion.
I love this idea.
Right. I thought, John has put himself in here, and this is, he talks to trees.
Yep.
That's what he does.
Yep.
He talks to trees. He likes to be in the woods, Yeah.
I mean, there's a famous story where he would go, and we talked about this all the time. He would go and he would sit down, and he had favorite trees that he would sit and talk to.
Mm-hmm.
This dude would talk to trees.
Right.
Have conversations with them. I mean, he believed that trees were as much living and as part of this world as we are. And I think it's kind of sad that that's something that we would never even. Yeah. Most people wouldn't even think about now, and he was right on to something there for sure. So I thought that connection you made was brilliant. I never thought of it. It makes total sense. Is Tolkien a little bit Bombadil? Is he the master of the ring? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I want to get it
over the ring, I should say.
I want to get
not of over.
There's so much to talk about.
There's much to talk about.
I want to mention a couple more comments here, just in regards to who people thought that perhaps he was, and a lot of the things Michael Upshaw, and
he's Eddie Nigma, isn't he?
Huh?
Isn't he Eddie Nigma?
Yeah.
Enigma.
What do you mean?
Batman.
Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We don't know who he is.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
There's this idea that he could be a Maiar, he could be one of the Valar, he could be, I threw out the idea that maybe he's, Eru Iluvatar, and that perhaps. And
I think I said God at some point.
I think you did.
I mean, I'm a hobbit. I call it like it is.
Right, master. Right.
Saying prayers. I mean, I don't know, whatever.
So stay tuned on that, because we found some things in this chapter too that we'd like to bring forward as evidence, maybe, or just.
So people kind of pointed out he was bound by the Old Forest, right? That was something that he's bound to a region, I guess. Maybe not the Old Forest, but he's bound to a region. He has boundaries, and all stuff that I didn't know that was interesting to hear and read.
Yeah.
But also, I keep coming back to this, and even some stuff that Tolkien himself said. But there's just a lot of stuff that's interesting that I don't know. There is no, whatever you think about Tom Bombadil, whatever you want to think he is, it's safe here. We want you to know you're safe in this book club. You're safe as an upper. You're safe in this group. There is no wrong answer.
No, I think
there's no wrong answer.
Isn't that why he sort of
and maybe that's why he's so controversial
Sure.
It's because there is no right or wrong answer.
Right. Yeah? And so anyways, we had a really good conversation in the car, just sort of about, what was his intent, and did he get bothered in later years, people asking him about this, like, guys, it's just a story. It's just, it's meant to be ambiguous. It's meant to be something that we, it's fun to pull it apart, but, take it easy. Yeah. Take it easy in a sense, or whatever. And I think that might've just been, I'm just speculating, that when you're asked that over so many different years, because I read a letter. I was listening to Corey Olson on the Tolkien professor, and he was talking about how in the early drafts, when they first sent this, when this was sent into the publisher, right, and they're editing this and they're looking at it and stuff, they kind of were under the impression like, oh, Tom's going to come in here at the end. Tom's going to be the one
That's
who comes
so
back.
interesting.
And they were almost under the impression, like, why is he not coming back?
Why is he not coming back?
Why is he staying here?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? They were kind of dumbfounded. But early on drafts, not that they had him going there. That was never, Tolkien's intent. But that was, they thought, oh, he's going to, this is good. We're going to forget about him.
That was the speculation.
And he'll
going on
swing
that.
back in at the end and save the day.
That's so interesting, isn't it?
Isn't it interesting? And
It
I was
is.
like, whoa. I mean, I was kind of
And when you
taken back.
when you really get into these chapters, is that surprising? When you read it the way it's
on
written,
your first read, wouldn't
it's
you
not
think, when is Tom coming back?
Absolutely.
Right.
And we talked about this. So a lot of people, I love the honesty that we have too. I think it's beautiful. I think it's exactly how we should be. We had a lot of people saying, I don't get this. I don't get Tom.
Sure.
Never gotten him. Don't like him. Don't understand why he's a part of the story. I skip his chapters. I don't get it. It's weird. It feels like like a diversion that has no relevance to the story. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time I read Lord of the Rings, I was 8th grade, maybe 9th grade, whatever. I was trying to catch up to the movies. So I kind of flew through the Fellowship of the Ring, read through it, didn't really give it a second mind. When I reread it again, not a big deal. I didn't really understand him before either. I was like, whatever.
Sure.
Don't really care. He's this crazy guy who dances around and sings. And it wasn't until we did this reread where I was like, I want to try and understand why people either don't like him or more so why people are upset. There's like an obsession with Tom Bombadil.
Sure. Yeah.
I want to understand that because I've been on the other side where it's like, who cares? I want to find out maybe why people dig him so much.
Sure. Yeah.
And so that was my lens kind of coming into this. I was looking for reasons to get excited about Tom. That's what she said.
Yeah.
And Goldberry.
Right.
And I found a lot of them.
Sure.
I read this chapter and I was like, he is so cool.
Yep.
There's so much more there. There is so much mystery. Not only more that you can kind of, speculate and maybe bring meaning that wasn't necessarily intended, but there's also a lot of just, I don't know what he is. And that's cool.
Yeah.
And that makes him greater because I don't know. And so I really fell in love with him.
Sure.
So I went from one side to the next, but he is kind of polarizing. You either get him and you love him, or it's like, I don't know, what's his purpose?
Yeah.
Because of that very fact, like he seems so powerful, and then it's gone.
Well, I think Ben Bassett kind of in this thread said, I think he's an enigma, and I thought that was really
Tolkien's words too, right?
Yeah, exactly. It is his words, and just that he's meant to be this.
Yeah,
we're not to put a box on him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
No.
And we're allowed to let our imaginations run wild. I'm going to make a quick tangent here. I was listening to the creators of with my Star Wars podcast, the guys on Rebels. They would create an episode. They'd create a storyline and an arc, and they loved to listen to people who could bring in, like, we created this, and here's what we think. Here's the box that here's the mindset we had. But whoa, you guys just took that to a different level. You saw it in a different way that we never saw it, and those were the creators. Yeah, actually, that was George Lucas was directly involved with that. It was the Mortis Gods arc. If you know that in Clone Wars, it's a very obscure, weird thing that happens in Clone Wars, and it's just different. You know what I'm saying? So I want to let people, you get like William Arthur talking about, you would never tell anyone to stop speculating, but he's happy to live with the mystery of who Tom Bombadil is and who Goldberry is as well. You know what I mean?
I love that.
I think that's kind of neat. And
It is. It's kind of, I don't know. There is so many, there is so much in this book that you can tie back to and say, okay, this is it. Or he comes from here, or his motivation was this because this case has been built. We've seen it build up. Yeah. It's nice to have those pieces where it's like, hey, here's Tom. Let your imagination run wild.
Yes.
There is no right answer. There is no wrong answer. Have fun.
Yeah.
I've had so much fun just letting my mind go crazy about what is he? Like what is, and when I said God, right?
I said it too.
Right. And in my mind, I think nature. What greater God is there than nature? Yeah. Nature dictates all. Well, right?
Yeah, that leads us into, I mean, honestly, if you want to take hold of this, we got an email where we had someone kind of break down a little bit more about Goldberry.
Cypern.
Yeah, you can kind of skim through what you which you'll want to read there.
Holy cow! Why don't you? I think you'd do a better job than me.
Sure. Okay.
I
Yeah.
think you should do it
No, I
as
got you, yeah.
the wizard.
So just talking about how delighted to hear that. We gave the opportunity to write some stuff here about Goldberry, and so goes on to talk about how they're strange anomalies in a world already rich with diverse magic, and they're unaffected by the ring. They both have abilities to interact with the local nature beyond what elves, hobbits, and men and dwarves seem capable of.
Yep.
I like that both of them are the physical manifestation of the lands and the water. And Tolkien said as much about Goldberry in the letter that he wrote. Tom is the earth, the woodlands, and Goldberry is the river, the rivers and the riverlands. They're married because rivers and earth are wedded together and inseparable.
Yep.
So that was kind of
That's
neat.
very interesting.
Right? Let's see.
Oh, she says they're very literal and very elusive.
Sure. Yes.
At the same time.
Real quick, because Frodo asked the question, who is Tom? And she replies, he just
is. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And later, when the Council of Elrond suggests giving the ring to Tom, Gandalf is adamant that that they cannot, because Tom may simply forget that he possesses it. Seriously, I remember before we started this podcast, I brought that up. That's what always was like,
I know.
dang man, what? I mean, geez, cow, what is the Gandalf doesn't want to give him the ring, but he's like super powerful. What's going on?
Yeah.
Gandalf. So he says that simply to forget it. I think it's hard for the other characters as well as the reader to understand this if you think of Tom and Goldberry as people, but not if you think of them as lands they represent. A river doesn't care about a ring. A river doesn't wonder why it exists or what purpose.
What his purpose is.
What his purpose is. It just is. So talking about just how they we like that simplicity. Other good thoughts here.
Oh man, she has so many amazing,
so many great
ideas.
thoughts.
She said she's written like papers on Goldberry, right?
Yeah,
and done studies on. On similar characters and throughout mythology.
Yeah, she goes into Grecian lore and talks about
nymphs and naiads.
Yes, yeah. So and just how she ties into all of that. So I thought what we would do is we take some of this, maybe just post this on.
We should just share that if she's cool with that. We could just put that up on the page or the group or whatever. That's amazing stuff.
Yeah. So anyways, there's just a couple, some thoughts from the last chapter had people thinking about, old Tom Bombadil and Goldberry. And so, wanted to get those out to you guys in our recap section there. So, yeah, but there's gonna be more ahead. There's more ahead. So,
yeah. I think it's important to not pigeonhole Tom. He is. He's master. Let's just let him be.
He's master.
He is master. That's right. Yeah. Man, cool stuff, dude.
Well, it's all perspective too when we say master as well, because I agree with Christopher Michael and those guys. It's all perspective. Who's master and to what degree?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
And what does the word master mean to you?
Right. Yeah.
What's your lens through that too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So,
getting deep and philosophical with
old
Tom B.
Yeah. All right.
Man.
On to our summary. So let's summarize this awesome chapter here that we had. We are reading, the fog on the Barrow Downs. Our summary for this: Frodo, Merry, and Pippin and Sam head out from Tom Bombadil's house. They say goodbye to Goldberry. They head towards the Barrow Downs. They need to head northward, so they're trying to find the East Road again.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Along the way, I just kind of went with this here. I said, maybe that they awoke some ancient magic. All right, or and that they encounter a Barrow-wight and they need the help again of Tom Bombadil.
Yep.
Okay, so that's very simple, and we're going to get into the details here. This was very, very interesting chapter to me, especially because if there was a chapter I skipped over, it was this one originally when I had read years ago, and I think because the way it starts, I'm like, I'm thinking Tom's out of the picture, right? Had I have known,
dude, and
what I know now,
no, and we're prepping for this reread, and Ez is just like, I've never seen him so excited for a podcast.
Well,
he's amped. He's ready, and I love it. I love the energy. He's like excited and ready to go.
I really am. It's going to be
not that you haven't been excited before, but like visually, I could see him getting giddy over this chapter.
Absolutely. So let's start off by just talking about we broke this down into 3 sections. So we've got leaving Tom's house, lost in the Barrow Downs, and then we've got Tom Bombadil comes to the rescue. So let's start with leaving Tom's house.
Let's do it.
And let's read the first little paragraph here. That night they heard no voices. but either in his dreams or out of them, he could not tell which. Frodo heard a sweet singing running in his mind, a song that seemed to come like a pale light beyond a gray rain curtain, and growing stronger, to turn the veil all to glass and silver, until at last it was rolled back, and a far green country opened before him under a swift sunrise.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's beautiful.
And I can't believe, because I love that in the movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you'll recognize that from Return of the King, right?
Yes.
It's Gandalf's description of what happens when you die.
Right.
And so I guess our minds kind of also can associate it with the Grey Havens.
Sure.
So like, you know, your idea of idyllic perfection after death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought that was cool. I forgot that was here and not there.
Sure.
You know?
Oh, I did too.
So the movieisms we get kind of saturated with.
Yeah.
So.
It's pretty amazing and it's amazing too how they made stuff shift and work.
Sure.
And you know, like diehard fans were like, okay, cool, that's fine there.
Well,
like people who are obsessed with the books would go, all right, that's fine.
Well, you mentioned earlier to me before we started this the songs and where they gave some of those to Gollum and the things that they, you know, took that away from the Barrow White and gave it to him. So
it's a fitting transfer, isn't it?
It is
from a Barrow White to Gollum. Yeah,
it is. It is. So just to kind of dive into this a little bit, you've got Tom's always whistling, he's always singing, and they are.
They ate breakfast alone again, right?
Yeah, they did. The air came fresh.
What's the significance there? Why are they always eating alone?
I just think they're up.
They're just busy. The land and the water are busy at work. Huh?
They are. They really are. And if you think about all the things that, like, I don't know how time works with Tom and Goldberry.
Question.
Seriously, because we get into that later in the response time that it took to get there, and I kind of almost wonder, like, if time doesn't. If he doesn't bend time in a sense, or it's weird to me.
If I could turn back time,
easy cow.
If I could find a word,
should have never said that. But anyways, so Nellie's not gonna be able to stop laughing. Oh my god. Now see people are gonna be like, Ez, you're nuts. Okay, all of a sudden you're giving Tom Bombadil now the power of time, you know.
Hey, no, that's not the power of time, Ez. That is perception of time is, dude, that's a whole podcast in and of itself. You're not doing anything wrong there. That's beautiful because, I mean, explain to me how 5 minutes can feel like 10 hours and 10 hours can feel like 5 minutes.
Sure. Yeah, I get you.
With no explanation whatsoever. It has nothing to do with that person. It's, I don't know, man.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. So yeah, again, they're eating alone. I just think it's, you know, they're getting ready to say farewell.
It just makes me think of like children and like parents.
Yes.
It's like, guys, come get breakfast. Come on. Are you going to eat with us, Mom and Dad? We're, you know, sweeping and
adult
I got to
stuff.
fix it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they're their kids again. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yep, exactly. So their quiet ponies were almost frisky, sniffing. Sorry, I just said sniffling.
Don't forget the sniffing.
Don't forget that. And moving restlessly. So I tried to underline every like sniffing line I could find in here. But anyways, Tom came out of the house and waved his hat, danced upon the doorstep. He was bidding the hobbits to get up and be off and go with good speed.
That's right.
It's time. Get out of here, guys. Let's go.
That's right, man.
And so this whole bit, you know, basically they're taking off down the slope. We kind of looked at the map. We're inquiring about where Tom's house was in the old forest. You know, because I guess I thought it was more centrally located, but it seems like, because I know they're getting pushed southward down the Withy Windle, and do they travel back upstream? I can't really remember, you know, and well, we were so disoriented in that forest.
It's ridiculous. I mean, yeah,
that's why I paid attention to the directions in this episode.
He looked like Rain Man over there. He's going, how do I east, west, and east. There's northeast, northwest.
He's facing
crazy,
southward.
dude.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he was like Lane.
I had arrows.
I think at one point you're like, there's a message here in the directions.
Hidden message.
The cardinal directions are leading.
There's a map
somewhere.
to a hidden treasure.
And I'm looking at him. I'm like, dude, he's gonna crack the code.
Yeah,
it's cured of cancer.
I'll get
done.
I'm gonna reread it again.
Yeah.
So, anyways, there's just some nice imagery though with Goldberry. You know, she's again clad in silver green, and we have never said farewell to her nor seen her since the evening. So they were upset that they hadn't had a chance to really say goodbye to her.
I mean, she was busy doing laundry the whole time.
Right, exactly. You know, so So they're taking off. They're on the hill brow. They're on the hill brow. She stood beckoning to them. Her hair was flying loose. As it caught in the sun, it shone and shimmered.
Yeah.
Right.
What a sight.
So they got a chance. I think as they were going down, they got to look back.
Yep.
And they
that's
could.
why.
Well, actually, later on they look back, but they see her right here. A light like the glint of water on dewy grass flashed from under her feet as she danced.
The descriptions of her are just beautiful.
They are.
I mean, he really I don't know. He worked his magic when he was describing her.
Yeah. And, she gives them some words of encouragement and kind of is in talking to Frodo, calls him elf friend.
Elf friend again.
Right?
Yeah.
And says that it was a merry meeting. I mean, it made me think, like, how many other hobbits have come through there that they've had like a significant, like a significant meeting with and been like, this was a merry meeting and really maybe, I don't know, took as much time out of their day as they did.
Yep.
What little maybe that they did is significant to them.
Yep, absolutely.
Right? To Tom and Goldberry.
Absolutely.
Is it because they're on a quest and they have the ring?
Right.
Or was there more to
There's
it?
something else to it.
This
A little bit
respect.
of both, maybe.
Because, Tom has a great respect for Farmer Maggot, right?
Right.
And that was interesting to us.
It is interesting.
Right?
Because it's unexpected, right? You figure someone powerful like that,
Yeah.
quote unquote important people,
Exactly.
right? And
Yeah.
you look at Farmer Maggot, and he was, didn't seem all that important, honestly, really. Even kind of leading up in our own quest within the story, it was like, well, this is the scary guy from Frodo's past, whatever. We're gonna try to avoid him, and then he ends up saving the day.
Mhm.
He ends up rescuing them and getting them to Mary safe, and then onto the ferry.
Sure.
So
Sure.
yeah, it's a cool thing. Tom's one of those guys. He sees the inside, doesn't he? Not the outside.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
Now, another interesting thing about Goldberry when she's speaking to them as they're taking off, and I'm going to get into the directions here now. Speed now.
Here we go, guys. Get ready.
This is it.
Get your compass out.
Get your compass. Seriously, I want you. Everybody get out a piece of paper and a pencil, and I want you to start marking down these directions.
We're gonna actually do a spin-off podcast. It's called Atlas of Middle Earth with Ez.
It's just the number.
No, I love
the
it.
amount of times. I was
I
like,
know.
why is he mentioning this so much? He did it in the Old Forest with directions,
Mhm.
and I think, So he's such a good. If you really follow, because you get confused, and if you don't go line by line and pay attention as to which way they're headed,
Do you think he also does it to confuse you as well, in a sense? Because he knows if you're not paying attention, you're going to get confused.
Maybe.
Do you think maybe he did that as
Maybe,
well? I don't
maybe.
know.
So, anyways, Goldberry says, "Speed now, fair guest, and hold your purpose north with the wind in the left eye, and a blessing on your footsteps. Make haste while the sun shines." And to Frodo she said, "Farewell, elf friend. It was a merry meeting."
Again, a special goodbye to him,
Right.
and only him. Yeah.
So hold your purpose north with the wind in the left eye. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
And a blessing on your footsteps. Now I'm just going to mention something kind of interesting here. So if they're going north and the wind is coming
Westerly wind.
with a westward, wind,
Yeah.
exactly where I'm going.
Yeah.
And later on, the wind comes from the east. So
She was giving them. She was Google mapping them.
I'm just saying it's interesting. The wind changes and it blows, whatever, blah blah blah. But I need to look at it further. I didn't have time to really. So there's
We'll get
more
into it.
directions. Okay,
We'll get into it here.
there's more directions. So
I think it was kind of cool that Frodo didn't even know how to answer. He
Right, he
couldn't,
just
he couldn't
bows.
find the words. Right. So he just bows low,
right,
mounted on his
speechless.
pony, and right. I mean, that's because usually Frodo is the most eloquent, I'd say, right?
Yes,
Obviously, he's the most learned. He's the most confident around some of these higher beings that they've come in contact with, and he can't even find the words. He doesn't know what to say to this beautiful woman.
right. Now I will say here's another interesting. You talk
I guess
about.
maybe I should, spirit, whatever.
Yeah, sure. So each time in this chapter, you'll notice multiple times that they look back towards the west. Multiple times. Okay, and they do it right here for the first time.
Interesting.
As they get to the bottom of this hill, they look back again
Dude, I had never
toward Goldberry.
made that connection. That's
Right.
very interesting.
How many times do they do it? I mean, literally, we'll count here, but I mean, multiple times when they're later on when they're on the hilltops, because I got confused. I'm like, wait, they're facing west now. I thought we're going east. What's going on? We're
Wow.
going north, but we have to go east to get into the
And then you could
Barrow
even,
Downs in the north.
and this might be fishing, which you can even go deeper and you could think, well, home is west.
Sure, exactly
They're
what I
looking
was
back
thinking.
to home for strength. The Grey Havens, so like the ethereal west is out there as well.
Yep,
Men of the West, that's interesting.
it happens so many
The
times.
West is good
Right.
in Middle Earth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So, turning back, when they reached the bottom of the green hollow, they saw Goldberry now, small and slender like a sunlit flower against the sky. She was standing still, watching them. Her hands were stretched out towards them. They looked. As they looked, she gave a clear call, lifted her hand. She turned and vanished behind the hill.
Visually, what this makes me think of is when in the Fellowship of the Ring, the film, when they leave Lothlorien, you kind of get this glimpse of Galadriel doing the same kind of thing.
Okay.
So I wonder if also they weren't sort of paying homage to Goldberry through Galadriel. I can't remember if that's what Galadriel does when they leave.
Sure.
It might very well might be. It's been a while, but that's exactly what I think of. She stands there, and I think Frodo catches a glimpse of her, and she kind of she does this like weird, like holding her hand out, waving that almost looks like the Argonath. It's a very.
I see. Yes.
You remember that part?
Yeah, I do
you
now.
can see her ring on her middle finger, the ring of Demadier.
Mm-hmm.
I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cool.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome. So, I mean, the first part of this, leaving Tom's house, is pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. They're leaving. Okay. Now,
Hold on, dude. I got to get
Do you have
that
more?
ring name is wrong.
go ahead.
It's not
go-
Demadier. That's like goodbye or whatever.
That's
I got to
fine.
look that up.
You go ahead and look it up. Part two, we're jumping in pretty quick. And part two is kind of part 2 and 3 are the meat of this. This is Lost
Nenya.
Nenya. Cool.
There we go. Sorry, I had to get that right. That was going to bother me. That was going to bother me. All right.
So we're lost in the Barrow Downs,
Mhm.
and the hobbits are up and down. So it starts off with this description that they're going up and they're going down, and you get the sense that they're in this now rolling hills,
Mhm.
almost like.
Yep.
Okay, if you ever look at a map, that's what they are. They're
Yes.
these mounds, right? Okay,
Yep.
and you looked up for us, I think, the words, what
Yeah.
a barrow.
I wanted to look up what Barrow and Downs were because obviously that's not something we use to describe lands now, right? And so
It's not here where we're from.
No, not out here in Amanda. That's
Yeah.
for sure. Although we could, because
Sure.
we have quite a few downs. So downs are. Oh my god, I lost it. Give me a second. Buy me some time, Ez.
Sure. Well, I think I actually kind of remember you were
Yes.
describing the barrows as like these mountains, and then like downs were like hills. So it's like mountain hills. So almost the idea that they were kind of larger hills.
Yes.
I could be totally wrong about that, but
Yes.
just from what you had mentioned earlier when you looked it up.
Yeah,
that
Barrow
was the idea.
is a mountain or a mound.
Mhm.
It's used only in the names of hills in England, so that's also very important. That's why we don't use
Right.
the word barrow.
Yeah.
It's a large amount of earth or stones over the remains of the dead. That's
Yep.
another definition as well, which
Yep.
is very important.
It
and
is.
then downs are just another type of hill.
Mhm.
I think they made reference to the North and South Downs in the south of England. So
Mhm.
our listeners over the pond will be able to help us out with that one. But
Sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome. So it is. So we're up and down. It's getting hotter and hotter. I thought this was,
Mhm.
the eras they would get up these hills. One, they're going up and down in elevation too, and so that's a bit of a trek, right?
Yeah.
The breeze each time they went up on these hills kind of dies down. There's a lot of really good alliteration here too, where it talks about long limbs and smooth sides,
Mhm.
and that's just describing the hills. So the Barrow Downs, which is kind of neat. Another thing that they use a lot, the word turf came up in this
Yeah.
multiple times.
Mhm.
The smell of turf,
Mhm.
the soil. As they got down in among these, downs, it just gets earthier. It's this
Mhm.
soft. It says a country of grass and short, springy turf.
It's almost like the dead that are buried there. They weren't buried that long ago, even though they were. You know what I mean? It's like a fresh. I'm imagining like a fresh earth kind of smell, like a very like.
Sure, it's almost it has it feels like it's alive, but yet it houses the dead.
The dead.
And here's
That's very
the reason I say this is because it's watered with this fog. There's this moisture always, and that's kind of keeping this turfy, spongy, springy turf as it's described. So I thought that was kind of neat.
Interesting.
And, when we get into making our drinking game, Lane and I joked that perhaps we do something where you look in a chapter and you see a bunch of different keywords like that. So because that's what he does. When he's writing, you'll see these words grouped
He's
together.
so repetitive, isn't he?
But
even within chapters,
it's intentional too.
Oh, it absolutely
which is cool.
Yeah.
It's a word that kind of stuck to him, and this is, I can almost see it. I don't know. I'd
we had
love
shadows and shadows of the past.
Yeah, exactly.
Reoccurring. There's
Picking a few words that really characterize this landscape,
Yeah.
and what it would, we get a good sense of what it feels like, looks like, smells like, etc.
Yeah.
So all good stuff. The hobbits keep looking back westward. So I mentioned this again. When they caught a glimpse of the country westward, the distant forest seemed to be smoking, as if the fallen rain was steaming up again from leaf and root, which was neat.
It's very interesting.
So again, they take a moment while they're further on. They're up on one of the, the hills, and they look back, westward. Now here we go. The hobbits come to a hill whose top was wide and flattened. Okay, this is where we've got to pay attention, friends. Okay, pay attention. Get your compass out. Get your pad and paper. Okay,
Get your atlas.
they look north. All right.
Okay.
And Mary believes that he sees way out there the ancient trees that were planted. They had some trees running along the
Great road, right?
Exactly. And he kind of recalls that. I mean, you learn that Mary's been,
Mary knows some stuff.
He knows some stuff.
It's probably number 2.
Yeah.
Oh, he's definitely number 2.
Well, and just that, like, this is his area.
Yeah.
We moved into Mary's area, so he kind of knows these things and can describe stuff for us. And we need that, I think, in a story.
Oh, for sure.
When people like Tom and other people go, wait, we need a hobbit who does kind of know the lay of the land to take us this far. You know what I mean? So kind of cool. All right. So he sees a line of trees which indicate the east road. Frodo looks eastward and is discouraged. He sees that the hills are higher and looked down upon them, and all those hills were crowned with green mounds. And somewhere, and as he sees these green mounds that are crowned, some of them had standing stones. Right, they're pointing upward like jagged teeth out of green gums. Again, so that alliteration, that imagery, all that good stuff. It's beautiful. But let's talk about the standing stones for a second, because as he looks out, he sees these mounds, and then you see these jagged stones. Right? Are those just markers? Are those, we talk about burial mounds
Giant
and stuff.
gravestones.
Is that a gravestone? Is
Right.
that right?
Yeah, monoliths. It's almost kind of like you envision like some kind of ancient Stonehenge type thing.
Sure.
And all these, if you look up art of the Barrow Downs, it's beautiful. I mean, like the people have created renditions of this that are very, like, they transport you there, like just these giant, tall, standing stones. That's what they are.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I like that you use the word transport. They transport you there, because I think in this land that we're in, that we might be walking in and out of lands. And I think we might be Ez gets a little crazy. I want people to understand that Ez takes things to the extreme. I love when I say I want my imagination to run wild, it will run wild.
Didn't Lewis talk about thin places? Or the ancients talked about thin places, right?
Yeah.
Where the reality we know and other dimensions kind of touch.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And as we were talking about this, it's kind of what I thought about too, is where are we really?
Yes.
We're catching glimpses of stuff and then it's not there again.
Right.
We don't see something and then it pops right up. Like what is that? Is it the fog playing with us, or is it something else?
Right. That's why I say there's almost like an ancient like spell or magic, something that's laid over this land. It looks very enticing. It looks like you said. It does look. I think it could look ominous. He looks eastward, and so he is discouraged because of he knows he has to go that way, I guess just it might have been intimidating, right? But at the same time, it's intriguing, isn't it? What is all that?
Right.
What's going on over there?
And so you're talking about ancient magic too. So we should tell people that we did do our research, right? And we do know about the ancient history in this area. Is that where you're getting there?
Yeah, you know about this. Go ahead.
I just looked it up because I was curious. So there is ties to the Dunedain kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
So Numenorians were there, and then there's also ties to wars that happened. And Tom talks about that later in this chapter. Spoiler alert.
Right.
And there's also there was an influence and sort of a claiming of the land by the Witch King of Angmar.
Yeah.
So there was this, good presence there overtaken by an evil, and so there's a lot of history in the Barrow Downs. And we won't go into it tons because we want to stick to the chapter, but go look it up and get into it. It's very, very interesting.
It is, and we'll get snippets here at the end. We'll go back to that in a sec. But you're right.
Yeah.
So there definitely is something going on.
So there's an enchantment here for sure. Yeah. There's something. There's a lot of history in this place, and so there's a lot of leftover energy going on. Right.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of remains.
So again, we're looking. We have hope when we look northward. We see what we think is a pass, a gate. They call it that we can get through. And we can go north and find that.
Yep.
It's like a passageway out almost. But we look eastward, we're discouraged. So the hobbits went down into this circle area. It's almost like this.
Like a hollow.
Yeah, it's a hollow. That is what it's called. Exactly. And so they found a single stone casting no shadow, shapeless yet significant, like a landmark. Or
casting no shadow.
So it took them that long. At one point, I skipped over this, but they look back they look back westward again. Mm-hmm. One of the times that they do that, and they realize, boy, we've come a little further than we thought we would.
Yeah.
And I think again we talk about when Gildor kind of gave them a little umph. What's in this food? Tom's giving them
exactly.
Or high spirits. It's like. And sometimes when you're going up and down,
maybe even fear too.
In terrain,
it might be a little spooked, right?
Sure. Yeah. Well, and well rested. They're well rested. Maybe
that's
didn't.
True.
They had got good provisions and stuff.
That's a good point.
They're making good time.
Yeah.
Which is good. So, let's see here. So they go down. Oh, they see this. It's casting no shadow. So, and they indicate at another point that it's noon. That this is noon.
Right.
Okay, when they get here.
Yep.
Shapeless yet significant, like a landmark or a guarding finger, or more like a warning. Right. So
stay out.
Yeah. Now, but my question is, stop. Yeah. Is this stone figure? It's down. It wasn't one of those that was up on top of a mound. Mm-hmm. So it's down in a hollow. Mm-hmm. Does that make it different? In those of you who have listened and looked into this more, I'll be honest with you. This is a chapter that I wasn't interested in until we did this reread. Right. And now I'm like,
one of the benefits of the reread.
It really
one of the
is.
benefits of being an upper.
It really is, because you get kind of, you almost like when you don't take it line by line and you just skip to the good parts at the end or whatever. You're like, okay, that was cool. It was quick. Cool. Move on. But no, there was so much more that we didn't even think about. So the hobbits, they sit down on the east side of the stone, and it seemed like the stone could not be warmed by the sun. So they're on the east side of it. Now I thought that was interesting because the sun had been, rising from the east.
Yeah,
would have warmed that side of the stone. Correct.
Right. That's a good point.
And it's cold. It's cool to touch. It feels good. Well, but to them it felt at the time
it's warm,
right? Because they're warm, and so they wanted. They took shade, not shade. Well, when they wake up, they're in shade.
Dude, just luring them in.
Yeah,
bringing them in.
Exactly. Now there's a huge break, sort of in like. Writing structure here. Let me get to it. For me, it's on 152. Here we go. So the hobbits, essentially, they fall asleep. They didn't mean to. Riding over the hills and eating their fill, the warm sun and the scent of turf.
There you go again.
My friends. Turf is back. Lying a little too long, stretching out their legs and looking at the sky above their noses. These things are perhaps enough to explain what happened. However, that may be. They awoke suddenly and uncomfortably from a sleep they had never meant to take. Okay.
What's in that fog, man?
Yeah, a lot of probably more than we want to know.
What's in that fog?
Fog's scary, man. I mean, I love fog. I actually,
I did too.
legitimately, it's awesome. I love
It's the
when
best.
we get some of that. But
It almost makes you wonder, like, is there something they're inhaling that's making them?
yeah,
I don't know.
So, they're woken suddenly from their sleep. There's a shadow from the stone, and it's cast eastward. The sun is gleaming through the mist just above the west wall of the hollow. So, imagine this. Their backs are up against this stone, right? Casting a shadow over them as they look eastward, and they stand up. They get frightened, they get spooked, and they rush back towards the sun. They run up this hollow and towards the light. So it says the sun, was gleaming through the mist just above the west wall of the hollow when the hobbits looked north, south, and east. Beyond the wall of fog was thick, cold, and white. Okay, so they had to run to this western, wall, right? So that's where they head initially. And I don't know. I mean, the ponies are getting spooked here as well, but they don't really want to go back to this pillar. I think that's significant. Significant.
Yeah.
And I think that was a marker. They knew where they were at there, supposedly. But anyways, they don't want to go there because that all of a sudden they get this bad feeling, right? That something down there caused us to fall asleep. This is abnormal, right? So what was that? Let me take you back to the old forest. What was it in the old forest that caused them to be sleepy like this? Remember, they all of a sudden just had and they just wanted to.
They couldn't fight it.
They couldn't fight it.
They were out.
Out.
Yep.
That was Old Man Willow.
Yep.
Right? Had put a spell on them. So again, you've got something like that at work here. Okay? And whether it's just a ritual or something that's been placed around, like it's a trap. And they say it's a trap. When they get to the westward, the hill there, the hillside of that hollow, the fog then, that the sun, as soon as they get there, they like see it set. There it goes. Just they got the last like glimpses or rays of the sun. It's gone, boys. Go back to Mr. Frodo. I'm out of here. Get me out of this. No, but I'm just kidding. But so they're scared, man. So let's see what happens here. Let's take this a little bit further. Let's see. They run there. Okay, the hobbits see the sun setting and they discover the fog. They're still hopeful and they know which way they want to go, and that's north. They've got to go north. When they reach the bottom of the northern slope, the air changes. It's colder. They get their cloaks out and they keep pushing northward. Now, I say they're pushing northward, and that's what they believe. And I think they actually are. I think they actually are pushing northward, but I think things maybe have gotten messed up and disoriented here.
There's a lot of parallels here between this area and the old forest.
There is. They're sleepy, except
it's almost like the fog replaces the trees.
This is still air quote in Tom's realm,
right?
Okay.
Yep.
So, but anyways, it talks about the dew, like the moisture that was getting. They're getting wet and cold, and the temperature is shifting here. But Frodo, I think, talks about, or just mentioned in narration, that they know they need to keep pushing, northward. Okay. So as they're pushing, they get in single file, don't they? They get in single file. They got their ponies.
Yep.
I think it's Frodo in the front, and I don't know, it was in the back. Sam in the back. Can't remember. Frodo sees these two shadowy figures. Maybe I'm wrong about the two, but he sees a darkness of some kind, something that looks different. It looks solid. I think that's what he was thinking. Is it looked solid? In fog you see something that's that's dark that might indicate a matte, like a higher density, something that's whatever. And that is what I believe.
Call them dark patches.
Dark patches. There you go. Thank you. But it says plural patches, right?
Yes.
So two, and there's a gap between them. It doesn't necessarily say that. We figure that out later. But he pushes towards those, and he's like, "Come on, let's go!" There's the north gate. Let's get the hell out of here.
Yep.
There they go. So he thinks this is the northern gate. As he gets closer, I think he rushed on ahead. And I wonder what the visibility was like. I bet you just a few feet was significant.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So in this patch of fog, so the dark patches grew darker, but they shrank. And he suddenly he saw towering ominous before him and leaning slightly towards one another like the pillars of the headless door. I'm sorry, like the pillars of a headless door. 2 huge standing stones. Where did those come from?
He had no recollection of them.
Yep, they don't recall seeing those before.
Wow. Interesting.
And they've got pretty keen sight.
Yeah.
You know, Sam
Senses
sees
of a hobbit.
exactly
Yep.
sees and they hear things, right? Frodo actually goes through the stones. This is where I pay attention to the directions a little bit more, just so we don't get super lost. But he goes through the stones. Okay, still going north? Question mark. But yes, I believe still going north. Darkness seemed to fall like immediately as he goes through those stones. Lane.
It's a portal, bro.
It's a portal. Okay,
Portal.
It's a gosh dang portal. I don't
It's
want
the
to
upside
hear
down.
It's the upside down. Stranger things are happening. My God, you know. So he's through the
Yeah, 'cause
portal,
He looks back and no one's behind him.
and I wondered if that was part of it. You know, and guys, we understand this is a bit of a stretch, but you know we like to make things interesting here. Is it a stretch?
I don't know. I think it's reading the text pretty clearly.
So they don't recall seeing those before. He goes through the stones. Darkness seems to fall. He looks back. He's alone. He's now facing south, air quote. He hears a cry away eastward on his left. So that does indicate to me that he's facing southward. And this is, again, Frodo's directions. He's facing south and then away eastward on his left. He hears this cry. He runs after the cries. It gets colder and colder. It's now night and the temperature has dropped. And he catches a glimpse of the stars and he kind of realizes that he's facing south. So there we go. Get another confirmation as to which way we are facing.
When he's hearing those cries too, he's hearing help, help, help.
Yes.
Which is almost like, I mean, obviously it's something people would yell all the time, but that's what he called in the Old Forest.
Say that again.
He called help 3 times in the Old Forest. When Old Man Willow was taking Merry and Pippin.
Oh my God.
And,
hold on here.
And right before old Tom showed up,
yeah,
he called help 3 times. Now, it doesn't say that he just called it 3 times. It's just an interesting parallel that we're hearing help, help, help again.
Let me take it a step further.
Another dimension. What's going on here?
Well, here's
Is
the
this
thing.
Friday 13th?
This is Friday the 13th, and it's getting a little weird. It's getting a little gosh dang weird, okay? But listen
Too much
to me.
fog.
Yeah. Would you do? What if a bunch of fog just started rolling in around your house right now? What would you do?
Don't you see it?
What would you
I see it. I see the island.
I see the other.
I see the fog.
So, but here's the thing. You said they're yelling out help.
Mm-hmm.
This land is paralleling a lot with the Old Forest. What if it's a trap?
I mean, it doesn't say who. He doesn't recognize the voices. He just hears help, help, help.
What?
Let me read it. Check me on this because this beginning, I've been kind of quiet. The beginning of this chapter, I read like 2 weeks ago, and I didn't have a chance to reread it today, so I'm kind of foggy on it.
That's funny.
So I'm letting Ez do his thing because he.
Well, I just got this part for some reason
stuck with you.
Yeah,
sure, yeah, and that's good. As he struggled on, he called again and kept on calling more and more frantically, but he heard no answer for some time. And then it seemed faint and far ahead and high above him. Frodo, hoy! Came the thin voices out of the mist, and then a cry that sounded like help, help, often repeated, ending with a last help that trailed off into a long wail, suddenly cut short. He stumbled forward with all the speed that he could towards the cries, but the light was now gone and clinging night had closed about him, so that it was impossible to be sure of any direction. So there you go. You're right. It is a trap. It's luring him in. He seemed all the time to be climbing up and up. Yeah,
and we could be reading too much into that. It absolutely could just be them.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Oh, for sure. But that's what we do.
That's what we do.
We have fun with it that way. Is just think, I don't know, outside the box.
And I mean that pretty much right there. I think
because
that
he
last
does get
help,
into a trap,
right?
Trap.
And that last help. This is the key wording too. That it trailed off into a long wail. We see later that same kind of voice is used. So I mean, it's not, if it was his Hobbit friends, or something actually calling for help for a good reason, I don't know that we would hear that. Well, or maybe that's someone else being taken.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's where I was saying we were going too far with it.
Got it.
I mean, most likely, literally.
That just dawned on me.
No, wow, okay.
Hello.
No, but literally, that is probably what's happening.
See,
but
and
my thing is that like this whole thing, it seems like a trap.
And see what
Everything that's in this land.
when I read that, how I was taking that, and I think it also makes sense. It's not what really happened, but I'm seeing that as someone mimicking the Hobbit's voices.
That's what I was saying.
Okay,
That's what I was thinking.
Well, I'm thinking maybe it's also something taking the other hobbits.
Yes, it could be both.
It could be both.
That's that. My point is
Okay.
that for sure they're probably taken. Obviously, they are. We know
Right.
that they are.
Right.
But Frodo ran on ahead,
Right.
and he went through the portal. Air quote. No, he went through the stone pillars.
Right.
And he's coming back, and then, gosh, couldn't you hear that? Couldn't you hear? Like, how
yeah.
creepy? How creepy is it to think that like a Barrow White changes voices and is like mimicking the hobbits it just
Yeah.
captured?
Dude, I'm
You know what I'm
thinking
saying?
from
Like that would just be crazy.
Yeah, I'm thinking from the films like a mixture of when Frodo falls into the dead marshes mixed with the Wraith world. You know, when he puts the ring
Yeah,
on it.
yeah.
Like just that weird kind of disoriented, like creepy shadow world kind of thing going on. With the
Right.
mist all around and voices mixing, you know, like half white, half merry. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Okay, so just to kind of he's running after these voices as Lane has mentioned. He catches a glimpse of the stars and realizes that he's facing south. He thought a biting wind from the east, and to his right there loomed against the westward stars a dark black shape. A great Barrow stood there.
It's great. Thanks a lot. Now I'm scared.
It's something. It's something, that's for sure. So,
And
anyways,
he called out previously, "Where are you?" to no reply. Then he says, "Where are you?" again after he sees this Barrow. He cried again, both angry and afraid. "Here," said a voice, deep and cold, that seemed to come out of the ground. "I am waiting for you." Are you kidding me?
I know,
It's the scariest shit I've read yet.
right? No,
Here I am waiting for you.
Yeah.
From beneath the ground.
yeah.
It's like, all right, why does my grave just call out to me? That's cool. Thanks. "No," said Frodo. But he did not run away. His knees gave, and he fell on the ground. Nothing happened. There was no sound. Trembling, he looked up in time to see a tall, dark figure like a shadow against the stars. It leaned over him. He thought there were two eyes, very cold, though lit with a pale light that seemed to come from some remote distance. Then a grip stronger and colder than iron seized him. The icy touch froze his bones, and he remembered no more.
Yeah.
Wow. And that is a Barrow White.
There it is.
Thanks a lot.
There's your description.
Absolutely.
Happy Friday the 13th. And this will come out later, but for us right now, it's like,
we're living it. Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
So
probably one of the scarier descriptions we've had yet.
Yeah.
I mean, the Black Riders are scary, but it's mostly in their actions, I think. Obviously, being a big black mounted rider is scary too, but they just act real creepy. Sniffing the ground, like always searching, popping up when you don't expect them. It's more in their actions. This thing, like, it sounds terrifying. And if you look up, there's some really good art from John Howe, who was, he was one of the artists. He, along with Alan Lee, did a lot of the art for the films and had a heavy influence in both Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Hobbit trilogy. And his, oh my gosh, dude, his paintings of the Barrow Whites are so freaky.
Yeah.
They look like the, from The Village. I don't remember what they were called. But like the Watchers or whatever they were. They're just super scary.
Oh, yeah.
Very creepy.
Okay. So now we're kind of into they've been captured, right? So we are now into part 3, Tom Bombadil to the rescue. And this is basically this is one of my favorite of this chapter. I mean, I liked what we just did there, but this gets we need old Tom to come back.
We do need Tom. You know what else we have to do too, as what? I mean, I hate to keep bringing it up, but we got to make a podcast, man.
Wow.
I think it's time we make a Lord of the Rings podcast. Just going to say it.
This is what happens when I put you in charge of the music.
I'm just dreaming.
No, yeah, I'm with you. I think let's do it. Let's make one.
Name's got to be just right, though.
Yeah.
Got any ideas? Dream with me.
Yeah, I'm thinking the Foggy Bottom Boys podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
You get lost in those downs forever.
Yeah.
Halfling Happy Hour.
Sure. Halfling
Not
Happy
bad,
Hour.
right?
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Distant Relations, the podcast.
You get into Hobbit family trees and whatnot.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
What about Overhill and Underhill?
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
That's a little strange. The Starry Barrow Nights show,
Absolutely.
right?
We're really close.
We're getting close.
We'll
We're
get
getting
there.
close.
One
Yeah.
of those days.
Wow.
We're gonna get there, guys.
Holy smokes. One. Yeah, you know,
You were talking about Tom.
we're talking about Tom.
You miss him,
And,
do you?
I do. I miss him, and so it's time for him to come back. He needs to rescue our good friends here because they are in a world of trouble. Didn't he
Should they
tell-
say a prayer?
But here's the thing: Didn't Tom say? Didn't he tell them to avoid these guys? You know?
And didn't he also give him a tool to call upon him?
Mhm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What foresight.
Yeah.
It's almost like he kind of knew it was going to happen.
Whoa, easy now, easy lane.
Take it easy. Settle down,
Um,
boy.
So Frodo comes too,
Uh-huh.
right? And you kind of had some good underlinings and marks in this.
Kind of
this-
went crazy here. This part was amazing. Yeah, when he came to himself again, for a moment he could recall nothing except a sense of dread. So, and that's another thing too. I think about, like when you, I don't know. The only thing I can think about is waking up when I'm late.
No.
I wake up and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I overslept.
No, right. That's true. But what you had mentioned in an appendices episode to me that
Yeah.
scares the daylights out of me. I still think about this from time to time.
Oh, the demon.
You being petrified and not being able to move like a
Couldn't
night
move.
terror.
Good move.
You know, like you're awake.
Mhm.
You see, and guys, you have to listen to that episode of that appendices. But like Lane is seeing this demon in the corner of his room. He can't do.
I felt
crap
it.
about it.
I didn't visually see
Sorry.
it.
It works better for me to say that you saw it. In my mind,
I mean, I saw it.
I see
I
him in
saw
the
it then.
corner, and I'm like, "Get out of there!"
Yeah.
But you can't move.
No,
you can't do anything.
Can't move. Yeah, he's petrified. That's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
Suddenly knew he was imprisoned, caught
Right.
hopelessly. He was in a barrow.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. He knew that the Barrow Wight had taken him. He's laying flat on his back. They're in this kind of weird configuration, right? They're all laying down. There's like swords across their neck. They're all decked out in this gold arraignment and like jewels and stuff, and
Yeah.
like they're being laid out for a funeral.
Right. Yes. Very
Super
strange.
weird.
Super weird. Super weird.
Eerie. And he's the only one who's awake. He sees next to him
Why
his.
is that? Is it because he got
We were
caught
talking
later?
about that. I don't know. Why is it?
Well, in another interesting piece here is he starts to think about Bilbo and
Yeah.
his stories and
Mhm.
stuff,
Yes, he does.
and just sort of they go into this piece right about
Yeah. Sorry. Wow. I totally skipped over all that. Man, I'm like lost in the fog here.
No,
Um,
you're good. I mean, that's
Tolkien has this cool, interesting point. He says there is a seed of courage hidden, often deeply, it is true, in the heart of the fattest and most timid of hobbits, waiting for some final and desperate danger to make it grow. Frodo was neither fat nor very timid. Indeed, though he did not know it, Bilbo and Gandalf had thought him the best hobbit in the Shire. He thought he had come to the end of his adventure, and a terrible end, and the thought hardened him. He found himself stiffening, as if for a final spring. He no longer felt limp, like a helpless prey.
okay. My question though, why is it different for Frodo? Like, did
Yeah.
did the Barrow Wight just sort of like, all right, I got my 3, I'm gonna do my ceremony, a little ritual,
Right.
and so I'm gonna forget about old boy Frodo for a second,
Right.
Save him for later. Like, you see what I'm saying? So
Yeah, and then you also got to be thinking about like if these Barrow Wights are in tune with any kind of evil,
sure.
can't they sense the ring or
That's what I was-
no?
Yep, that's what I was going to ask. They've got rings on their fingers. They've got rings in their pockets.
Isn't everything groping for that ring at some point? Like
Yeah.
like everything. I don't know. A lot of individuals want that ring.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
interesting. It's very interesting to me.
Well, he goes on to say, as he was laying there and thinking and getting a hold of himself, he noticed all at once that the darkness was slowly giving way. And here's what I was asking you about, which was a pale greenish light was growing around him. It did not at first show him what kind of place he was in, for the light seemed to be coming out of himself and from the floor beside him, and had not yet reached the roof or the wall. What is this?
I don't know, man. It's some enchantment. It's got to be from that fog, right?
But this light correlates to darkness, like leaving or retreating, and it's has to do with Frodo waking up and getting that seed of courage right in him to be like, nope, this is the end. I'm going out swinging. I'm gonna, for the Shire.
Right. Yeah. But it's kind of a weird light, though. This light's weird. A pale greenish light, like a sick.
Well,
like a sick light. Is that, or is that?
That's
see, the way I took that was like almost like the end, like, because didn't he say that?
Well, because all the images in this area have been green, and they do seem green and eerie and sick-like or evil. And so I kind of was like, what is this attached to Frodo, or is this separate? Is it just, why does it come to be now?
And I thought that it also said that Sam, Pippin, and Merry were glowing, but it says he turned and there in the cold glow he saw lying beside him. It doesn't say that they also had that same effect.
Right.
So I guess I mistook it that. I thought that they were all feeling that way, and it was from they're just deathly pale.
Sure. Yes.
And dressed in white, like they were, corpses.
Right. Exactly.
Interesting. So I don't know what that is.
Right. But isn't they're dressed up kind of in like this ceremony, right? So we talk about Sam, Pippin, and Merry.
Right.
They've got rings on their fingers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gold chains were about their waists.
Right.
As you said, their swords lay on their sides, shields were at their feet, but across their 3 necks lay one long naked sword.
Ready to make that cut, man. Ready to slice all the throats at once.
Wow. But
Maybe.
Are they dead here?
Well,
like what's going on?
Well, what happens next is we have it seems like it's not, the deed isn't done, right? Because Frodo kind of stops. We've got this hand that reaches in. Am I jumping ahead too far?
No, you're right there. Yeah. So well, actually, suddenly a song began. There's a cold murmur rising and falling.
Yeah.
This thin voice. So this voice of this Barrow Wight.
There you go.
Yeah, we actually get sort of it kind of comes to shape, and I almost imagine that it's hard to figure out proximity. Where is this creature at?
Right.
Do you feel lost? Like, do you know exactly where he's at? I don't really know that it gives you any indication of that.
No. It's very disorienting. Yeah.
So I get that he's laying on this stone slab, and I guess on the floor are his friends, right?
Yeah, and well, that's a great point, because it says here, out of the formless stream of sad but horrible sounds. So formless. So it's everywhere and it's nowhere at the same time. Strings of words would now and again shape themselves, grim, hard, cold words, heartless and miserable. The night was railing against the morning, of which it was bereaved, and the cold was cursing the warmth for which it hungered.
Yeah.
God, dude. Mr. Wordsmith. Frodo was chilled to the marrow. Chilled to the marrow, caught in a barrow, escape is narrow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. That's it.
That's right. Yeah. So anyways, this song becomes clearer and clearer.
And it changes it to an incantation.
Right.
So you're right. Like this ritual is about to go down, man.
Yeah. What's up?
Just, I don't know, man. The realization that they were going to be sacrificed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of crazy. I mean, that's like,
Mm-hmm.
And Frodo thought his journey was done, man. He thought it was, and he's like, oh, this is how my adventure ends. He hasn't had that thought yet. He didn't think that with the Black Riders.
Right.
He didn't think it at any other point so far. He thought that this was the end. It's just interesting that this is not in, it's not in the movies.
Mm-hmm,
and it was pretty significant for this character.
Right. Yeah. Let's at least read the spell. Or
yeah, let's do it.
Cold be the hand and heart and bone, and cold be sleep under stone. Never more to wake on stony bed, never till the sun fails and the moon is dead. In the black wind the stars shall die, and still on gold here let them lie, till the dark Lord lifts his hand over dead sea and withered land.
God.
Sounds like some dark stuff's going on.
Yeah, the Dark Lord.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I just thought that was interesting to
very interesting
take in. Now, he's petrified. He's getting his courage up. He raises himself on one arm, looks over, he sees this pale light. They're in kind of a passage, which behind them turned a corner, and around the corner, a long arm was groping.
Yeah, this is the part that freaked me out.
Well, dude, this is just so weird to like imagine and think about. So they're in this room. He hears this down the corner.
Yeah.
Right around down this hallway, and then he sees this arm coming around it.
Yep.
Correct? Okay.
Yep.
And walking on its fingers towards Sam, who was lying nearest, and towards the hilt of the sword.
Dude, I've written next to this just gross.
Yeah.
Just gross. It's like a cousin it hand. I mean, it's obviously attached to an arm, but it's using its fingers to walk towards them.
Yeah.
Gotta be groping for that sword, right?
Yeah. So at first, Frodo felt that he had indeed been turned to stone by that incantation. Yeah. And then a wild thought of escape.
This is bizarre, man.
Overtakes him. He wondered if he put on the ring, whether the Barrow Wight would miss him, and he might find some way out. He thought of himself running free over the grass, grieving for Merry and Sam and Pippin, but free and alive himself. Gandalf would admit that there had been nothing else he could do.
So you talked about this is the ring maybe having an influence on him of this rationalization of, it's the only thing I could do. Even Gandalf would agree.
Right? Doesn't it seem
Gotta
like
save myself.
Doesn't that seem like
it does? Because it doesn't really sound like Frodo.
But then we were wondering, why wouldn't the ring want to get into the hands of this?
You brought that up,
Barrow Wight.
Yep, and that's a really interesting. So are they?
Are they rogue in a sense?
Yeah.
I mean, they've been awoken and they're evil spirits.
Right. But they can't be ruled.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Because wouldn't the ring want to return to them or go to them as an easier route of getting to?
Yeah. And really, it is kind of unknown as to what the Barrow Wights are.
Yeah.
And, really what, I don't know.
Yeah, we know who set them in motion.
Yes.
You're right, but we don't
really know exactly who or what they are.
Right.
Or who they're beholden to. And I get that, yeah, sure, thanks for bringing us into the fold
a little
here.
Foggy.
But if we get the ring, it's ours, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't know. And I just don't know if that maybe wasn't the way that the ring had intended to go to the Dark Lord. It seems like, it also seems like too, they're still in Tom's land. And I think the ring maybe knows that now. Don't you think? Don't you think the ring's alive? And the ring,
absolutely.
When it encountered Tom Bombadil, was like, oh shit.
Well, I mean, if
like,
you take it literally, the ring is Sauron.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, so it's as much him as the physical him was him. So I
And
agree. Yeah, he knows what's going on.
Tom's very dismissive. It's whatever.
Yeah.
It's a ring. Cool.
Yeah, that's right.
I get whatever.
Got nothing, bro.
Yeah. So that makes me think too. It's maybe possibly this land and this treasure that comes into this land is hoarded and kept, and
it doesn't go anywhere else.
Not seen for years.
Right.
Tom
thousands
remembers,
of years.
Tom almost remembers perhaps when he gets later on, he gets into some of the treasure and almost remembers, I believe, a first age or second age individual.
Yeah.
So
who its original owner was.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Man, good points, dude.
The courage that had been awakened in him was now too strong. He could not leave his friends so easily. He wavered, groping in his pocket, and then fought with himself again. So there you go. Man. That is the ring, and the ring is pulling it back to the pocket. No, wait.
Yep.
And then as he did so, the arm crept nearer.
Also interesting too, right? That there's this arm creeping into the room, and he's having to fight his own arm from creeping into his pocket and getting the ring.
Good call.
That's a weird kind of like parallel.
No, you're right.
That's
you're
interesting.
Right. You're right.
Very interesting.
So, anyways, he's hardened. He seizes the sword that was lying beside him, and kneeling, he stooped low over the bodies of his companions, and with what strength he had, he cuts off this arm.
Cuts it off, dude.
Yeah, near the wrist. Like, how long is this arm? How long is this?
I know.
Like, I don't understand what's really happening. Is he's reaching around the corner into this room? Was it like a shadowy figure arm that was coming in?
Or maybe it was just there was a shaft that was close that kind of reached in. You keep talking. I have an illustration.
Okay, sure.
I have an illustration I'm going to get up, and I think it.
Yeah, I mean, because it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So anyways, he cuts off this wrist. The hand is broke, but at the same moment, the sword splintered up to the hilt. So there's this shriek, and the light vanished. In the dark, there was a snarling noise, and so that's making me think that, like, what is it? What does this? Why can't the Barrow White like be fully in the room? I guess. Yeah, Lane's about to show me an image here. Okay. Tilt your. Let me see that real quick.
Is it big enough for
I
you?
see it. I just don't. Man,
I know it's a cumbersome description.
like, why put them in there if you can only reach your arm in to get them?
Great point.
I don't know. It's just.
I don't know.
Anyways, it just seems kind of strange to me. So anyways, well, do we know that that's a Barrow White? Yeah, it is. We do know from later on. Sorry.
Yeah.
Starting to wonder if there's more creatures. Okay. So Frodo, he falls forward over Merry. Merry's face felt cold all at once. Back in his mind, he starts to kind of remember that, hey, if Tom said if he's ever in trouble, they kind of he had taught them a rhyme.
Yeah.
To
Interesting
call
that
for
it comes to him just now.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it could have come to him. And wait,
Yeah.
he's been in danger for a while. It comes to him now.
right.
Like he's almost kind of defeated a lot of this evil on his own. But it's because his friends are, I mean, they're like non-responsive.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right. We take so hey, we getting this one?
Oh, let's get it, baby.
Ho
Tom Bombadil, Tom Bombadillo,
by water,
wood and hill, by the reed and willow, by fire, sun and moon, hearken now and hear us. Come, Tom Bombadil, for our nearest
our
Wow.
need is near us.
Wow, dude. It's Friday the 13th.
Oh, God.
I'm in a fog.
But so anyways, they remember it, and it actually says that there's this. I think when he starts to sing, he gets as soon as he says the name Tom Bombadil,
Yeah.
his voice grows.
Yeah, it
in-
says
in
right.
strength.
Yeah, it says right before that. His voice began. Ho Tom Bombadil. With that name, his voice seemed to grow strong.
Oh, Tom Bombadil. Yep.
Yeah. It had a full and lively sound, and the dark chamber echoed as if to drum and trumpet. So
Yeah.
this dark, scary place even turns into a piece of the song that's calling Tom. I don't know, man. That's pretty powerful.
Mhm.
That just speaks to the power of Tom. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
And then I love that not too long after that, Tom answers and he says,
Yeah.
"Oh, Tom Bombadil is
a merry fellow.
bright blue his jacket
Jacket
is, and his boots are
Yellow.
yellow." So, he shows up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, he's back.
Yep.
And we get into the idea of time and like how in the world it took them all morning to get to the stone, and then they get lost, and then so he's there in an instant,
Right.
So
And he comes through a
Pretty
trap
cool.
door.
pretty cool. Well, again, it goes back to what some of the folks in the group were saying, that the river daughter, that she's
Mhm.
right the riverbed and the river and the water and things like that, and he's of the earth,
Mhm.
Right, and that he pops up out of the
He's
ground.
the father of all dwarfs, probably.
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 Right, probably. Yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fact check it.
So, but anyways, he's there, and this is fun. You got some stuff underlined there for this part.
Yeah, just the description was cool. A low door-like opening appeared at the end of the chamber beyond Frodo's feet, and there was Tom's head, hat, feather, and all, framed against the light of the sun, rising red behind him. So there you go. That's interesting too. That the sun is coming up right as this is happening. Very, very interesting. The light fell upon the door and upon the faces of the three hobbits lying beside Frodo. They did not stir, but the sickly hue had left them. So immediately, as he's there,
Sure.
this enchantment starts to break.
Life is, yeah.
Yeah, restored. They looked now as if they were only very deeply asleep. Tom stooped, removed his hat, and came into the dark chamber singing. Get out, you old wight, vanish in the starlight. Shrivel like the cold mist, like the winds go wailing. So, wailing again. There you go.
Yeah. Yep.
Out into the barren lands, far beyond in mountains. Never come, never here again. Leave your barrow empty. Lost and forgotten be, darker than the darkness, where gates stand forever shut till the world is mended.
Chimney.
Gates.
Christmas. Oh, I know.
Huh.
I know. Yeah.
Interesting.
Exactly.
Portals, maybe?
We've talked about gates and portals.
I know, man.
You know? And so
It's
where
just a
gates,
weird. It's a weird area.
It is. Where
Super
gates
bizarre.
stand forever shut until this world be mended. Chimney.
A lot there. We
There's-
could make an episode out of that. Just that song.
Yeah, we could. And it does. Here's another thing. I'm not going to say that Tolkien went this far or whatever, but we've talked about our own faith and stuff, and just the way we were raised and stuff. And the story that comes to me is like going into, you've got Lazarus going in to wake the dead. I mean, that's why I asked earlier: are they dead? Like, does he come in and he wakes the dead? It's just crazy. It's just some crazy parallels you can draw to Tom, and you could draw other ones that I'm not even thinking of that are completely. That's why people love this character. That's why they rave over him. That's why, it's like there's so much fun you can have with him.
Yeah. He's all things to all men, isn't he?
The reason he reminds me of, you mentioned that Robin Williams might have been the guy that would have played him.
He wanted to.
Right. And Robin Williams was the genie. Yeah. And you imagine like a genie who just has these powers.
Right. Yeah.
Who can do all these different things. Yeah. That's what he kind of reminds me of too.
Yep.
So, anyways,
Absolutely.
Let's see. What else do we have here?
This was very interesting. So after he sings the song, there was a cry, and part of the inner end of the chamber fell in with a crash. Then there was a long trailing shriek fading away into unguessable distance, and after that, silence. Yeah. So it makes me think he just banished this wight.
Banished.
Gone.
Yeah.
Destroyed. Or returned to rest, or I don't know, whatever. Whatever you do to spirits, it's been exorcised.
But
exorcise your demons.
Get them out of here. But isn't it interesting that Tom, like his powers are singing and power of word? Mm-hmm. He's not swinging a sword. He's not saying...
doesn't need it.
It's just like he's just singing.
So if he took on Sauron, would it be a rap battle? That's my question.
Yeah, it probably would be. But anyways, it's just super interesting. Okay.
It is. No, it is. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to make light of that. No, it's amazing.
I know. Let's see, dude.
Got to get out on the clean grass, he says. Let's get out of here.
Get out of here.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So, let's see.
Oh, dude, this is gross. When they leave, Frodo sees a severed hand wriggling still like a wounded spider. So it's just still there, that hand.
Right. And also their garments here. This is interesting. They're in different clothes, right? Yeah. And when they come out of here, they've got... I think Tom goes back in to get the gold, silver, and all the jewels and the rings and the treasure.
Yep,
essentially.
Gets it out. That's right.
So let's see. Oh, what in the name of wonder? Began Mary, feeling the golden circlet that had slipped over one eye, and then he stopped. A shadow came over his face, and he closed his eyes. Of course, I remember. And this is where you said, if you see where I'm at here, he's talking about. You want to finish that for me? So then,
you said the men of Carn Doom came on us at night, and we were worsted. Ah, the spear in my heart. He clutched at his breast. No, he said, opening his eyes. What am I saying? I've been dreaming. Where did you get to, Frodo? Yeah, just interesting. Dropping that knowledge of the men of Carn Doom.
Right,
it's ancient stuff.
Well, and it's almost like in their dreams, they've been. Visited by the dead.
Right. I wonder how long they thought they were, or how long that dream felt, talking of time.
Sure.
How long they felt like they were in that dream. It's also interesting too, right? Tom does it again. He wakes them up by singing.
Exactly. He does. Yeah. Wake now, my merry lads. Wake and hear me calling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dead hand is broken. It's like very literally.
Yeah. Well, I should have finished the song. Night under night is flown, and the gate is open. Yes.
So maybe the gate also is just this enchantment as well, right? Maybe,
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. It's a portal. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't write these things, guys. It's Tolkien.
Right.
All right, take it up with him.
So
Go to the Barrow Downs.
Yeah. Back into the garb. Sam is all interested in, where are my clothes? So
Yeah, we get some more nudity coming up here.
right. And then Tom says, "You won't find your clothes again."
Yep.
Tom said, bounding down from the mound, laughing as he danced around them in the sunlight. One would have thought that nothing dangerous or dreadful had happened, and indeed the horror faded from their hearts, just based upon what Tom was.
Just by looking at him.
Yeah.
Looking at him, and that whole ordeal where they thought they were going to die, they were doomed, they were petrified. 3 of them were knocked out, gone, like it never even happened. Pretty interesting.
Exactly. And Tom gives him a little perspective here. He says, "You found yourselves again, and out of the deep water. Clothes are but little loss if you escape from drowning. Be glad, my merry friends, and let the warm sunlight heat your heart and limb. Cast off these cold rags, run naked on the grass, while Tom goes a-hunting." Right, and so I think he goes and gathers some stuff for him and gets the provisions.
Did you think it was interesting, too, that he compared that experience with the Barrow Wights to drowning in deep water? Did he use that analogy because that's what hobbits fear most? What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a good
Maybe.
a good
I mean, they clearly weren't literally drowning. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of interesting. I'm like, all right.
Well, the fog has got that water-like,
Yep, sure.
Drowning in the fog.
Okay.
I don't know. That's good. That's a good point, though. I like it.
It's just interesting.
Yeah.
Deep waters. They talk about,
Yeah. All right. So let's move on here just a bit.
Let's just move. Let's speed it up to
Please do.
The hobbits ran around for a while in the grass, as he told them. Then they lay basking in the sun with the delight of those that have been wafted suddenly from bitter winter to a friendly clime, or of people that, after being long ill and bedridden, wake one day to find that they are unexpectedly well, and the day is again full of promise.
Yeah.
So just these little naked hobbits laying down and sunbathing and running and frolicking in the wonderful, beautiful sun.
Presence of Tom Bombadil. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Just waiting on their clothes.
Yeah. So, and to kind of move through some of this a little bit because we're running a little short on time here, but
4 hours.
It's been 4 hours. Yeah. Their ponies. Their ponies come back and they're named now.
That's right.
Which is cool.
Very
really cool. Really cool. And then Tom's horse, Fatty Lumpkin, is super cool.
Sort of the Shadowfax of ponies, right?
Right. Yes.
I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Yes. And
larger, stronger, and fatter than their ponies.
And he talks about how the ponies, they knew the right way.
Yeah.
They're simple.
Didn't they go? Yes, that's right. That's right.
And their hearts weren't prepared for, they weren't made for facing down Barrow Wights.
Yeah.
Come on, hobbits, what are you doing? But, they found their way and they met up with Fatty Lumpkin.
They went straight to
his pony.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And he was able to calm them down.
Yep.
And so anyways, Tom decides that I'm going with you guys.
Yep.
So I'm going to get you guys
Gotta
at
get
least.
you out my borders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't be having any more of this craziness.
Right.
All right. You guys got stuff to do.
Well, we
And
also
he
don't know
says
what
that too.
And we don't know what we disturbed Tom from. Maybe he was having a good time.
Exactly. He probably was.
I mean,
yeah. But so he says he wants to get back. I've got to keep his house up. He's got things that he has to do. He's so he's going to take them. They're delighted to hear this, and they thank Tom, many times. But he laughed and he said they were so good at losing themselves that he would not feel happy until he had seen them safe over the borders of his land. And then he goes on to talk about the things he has to do. Tom has his house to mind, and Goldberry is waiting.
Always.
So
Gotta get back to Goldie.
All right. Tom gives them some provisions here at the end.
And they get these important these daggers.
The daggers were pretty cool,
from
right?
Westernies. That's right. Yeah, they were ancient and very important. Sharp blades are good to have if Shire folk go walking east, south, or far away into dark and danger. Then he told them these blades were forged many long years ago by men of Westernis. They were foes of the Dark Lord, but they were overcome by the evil king of Carn Doom in the land of Angmar. Few now remember them, Tom murmured, yet still some go wandering, sons of forgotten kings, walking in loneliness, makes me think of somebody, guarding from evil things, folk that, oh my gosh, guarding from evil things, folk that are heedless.
Right. And then right after that, they have a vision, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
And so there's also kind of like a little foreshadowing for someone we're about to meet as well.
Sure, it is.
Someone, a big character that we're kind of introducing this idea of the Men of the West, and also the Rangers, and
Absolutely.
so the ancient powers of men.
Right. Now, one thing we don't want to pass over is the brooch, the thing that Tom pulled out, the jeweled the brooch set with blue stones. He chose this.
I missed that.
Yeah, it's okay. He chose this for himself, and so he looked long at it.
Wait, where is this?
Right before what you read. It's just right before it, a couple paragraphs. He looked long at what he at it, as if stirred by some memory, shaking his head and saying at last, "Here is a pretty toy for Tom and for his lady. Fair was she who long ago wore this on her shoulder. Goldberry shall wear it now.
Oh my gosh!
And we will not forget her."
Holy crap!
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine.
I missed
The order,
that.
yeah, it's either or.
Oh no, that's amazing.
Both are significant, and it's like, so we get these references to that old, ancient times.
Wow.
So, but anyways, you guys can speculate. I know some of you are pretty savvy in the ancient histories and stuff,
Yep.
so can kind of fill us in
They
on
belong
who you
to.
think.
Let us know.
Yeah, who you think that might be. I've seen a lot of speculation online, so
Yeah.
interested to hear there. But at last they're off with their ponies, and they're heading up and down again, and he's got them headed the right way. They go over the names. They talk about how Fatty Lumpkin was there to. This is why I skipped ahead, and this is the part where he's kind of talking about how they got back to him or whatever.
Yep.
So they climbed down through the dike, through the gap in the wall, and then Tom turned due north, for they had been bearing somewhat to the west. The land was now open and fairly level, and they quickened their pace, but the sun was already sinking low, when at last they saw a line of tall trees ahead. So there's those tall trees that Mary was looking at in the beginning there. And so they're getting close to the road. They rode down the bank and looked up and down. There was nothing to see. "Well, we're here at last," said Frodo. I suppose we haven't lost more than 2 days by my shortcut through the forest. But perhaps the delay will prove useful. It may have put them off our trail."
Yeah.
And you thought this was interesting because
I just
what
thought
are
it
the
was
reactions
hilarious.
to we're bringing up?
They hadn't even thought about the Black Riders. The others looked at him. The shadow of fear of the Black Riders came suddenly over them again. Ever since they had entered the forest, they had thought chiefly of giving back to the road. Only now, when it lay beneath their feet, did they remember the danger which pursued them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it's
Yeah.
like this real. I was like, oh God,
Yeah.
we forgot about that.
We forgot about that.
Thanks, Frodo.
Exactly. So that's pretty neat. And then we get to this point where Tom's given some last advice, and he gets to the borders of his country. Okay, and I say the borders of his country in which he's defined. And he tells them,
Defined but not held.
right, and he tells them to head on to Bree and to seek out
Prancing Pony.
the Prancing Pony, right?
Barlaam Butterbur.
There it is.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. And speaks highly of him, doesn't he? A little bit.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think he speaks highly of him.
He's a worthy keeper. That's what he calls him.
Yeah.
Gandalf also, we learn later, was a big fan of Barlaam.
Right.
Yeah.
Now my question to you, and you brought this up to me actually, so I'll just kind of let you go on this tangent here. But so Tom's been over his borders.
Sounds like it.
He's been to Bree,
I mean, there was this,
or did this guy come into his borders?
There's this idea that maybe Tom is bound to a certain area. But if he's at his borders and he's talking about, obviously clearly, I mean, the way I read this is he's been to the Prancing Pony. He's had some beer there. He's met Barlaam. He's been to Bree. So if he's at his border now and he's been somewhere beyond it, then to me, the whole thing of being bound to an area isn't it's not a binding thing the way we think it. It's like he would just much rather be in his home.
It's a choice.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very, very similar to like how hobbits feel about, I just want to stay in the Shire.
Mhm.
I don't want to go out beyond my borders. The hobbits aren't bound to the Shire, clearly.
Mhm.
They go all over the place. If you're a Bucklander, you wander farther than those of, being in Hobbiton. But Yeah, it's not like he's the way I take it anyway. Is he's not restricted to that area.
Now,
It's because of his love for Goldberry, his love for his home, that he chooses to spend all of his time there.
right, and I think one could make the case too. It's like, okay, maybe he can physically walk across his borders and things like that, but does his power go with him?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
And I'm just saying,
It's a good question.
It's a good point. It's a good question, but I think it does.
How would you separate the two? That's
I don't
what
think
I want to know.
that's what I'm saying. I think
that would be weird. I mean, I guess maybe
I get
magical realm.
Well, I get that he maybe there's something, that he's defined his borders. It's sort of like a kingdom of his that he
that's
has,
true.
right?
That's true.
And it has borders, right? And he is powerful and he maintains up to this point and just has no desire to maintain further. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting. Like you said,
It's
that
very interesting.
he's been there. So, yeah, they mount their ponies. They rode off silently into the evening. Darkness came down quickly, and they're off. They're heading into Bree.
We have some hope too because there are hobbits.
Yes,
In Bree
yes. And Mary mentions that, doesn't he?
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
Mary.
right.
Mary seems
He calls
to
it
know
the
quite a
pony.
bit.
He's been there before.
Yeah, he's been there before.
Been to the pony, boys. Ride the pony.
Oh,
Good chapter,
goodness.
man.
Yes,
Holy
absolutely.
cow.
I know, wild. I told you.
1 o'clock in the morning, folks.
I told you we would do it.
That was great, though. That was yeah,
Absolutely.
beautiful getting lost in the Barrow Downs.
Absolutely.
Scary. One of the scariest chapters so far, I'd say.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
a lot of fun. So,
Like
all right,
being
let's get into any. I think we've kind of gone over our cool connections in that, like
Yeah.
we talked about the histories and
Yep.
things like that. So I don't really know that there's much more to elaborate on there.
I think there is.
So oh boy, the yawning's coming back.
My turn.
Wow, the yawn
Don't
ring
forget
to
the
rule them
yawning.
all. The yawn ring.
All right, so this is the Bywater Post. We got an awesome personal story from Hannah Woolbright. So I'm just going to read this as. Is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely.
Finders Keepers. I posted this over in sorry. I posted this over at an old post on the main Facebook page. There you go. That's where we were trying to find it. So I figured I would share it over here instead. Hi, I just discovered your podcast. I have a really weird Tolkien story. I watched the old animated movies when I was a kid. As I got older, I remembered 2 of the songs, Frodo of the Nine Fingers and Where There's a Whip, There's a Way, and how the ring was destroyed from the old movies. My uncle had an old box set with the trilogy. In middle school, I tried to read them. Harry Potter had gotten me into fantasy, but I struggled with the pace and the reading level. It took me a while to get good at reading because of my dyslexia. I got to the chapter in the Prancing Pony and then stopped. Then, in the summer before 9th grade, I watched Fellowship at a dollar theater. Remember when those existed? Yeah, that was awesome. I was hooked. Naturally, of course, I still remember the end of the series. Oh well. The stories I was writing started having elves and dwarves. I tried to read Fellowship again, but I still struggled with the pacing. Finally, I decided to start with The Hobbit instead, and I read that no problem. That made reading the trilogy easier. By the end of that year, I had read all of the trilogy. In 10th grade, I struggled through the Silmarillion. Everyone's name is so similar. Yeah. I haven't gotten there myself. You're doing better than me.
Mm-hmm.
I also memorized and recited the whole of the morning song for Boromir for drama class. That is so cool. I am, in fact, a total nerd. After that, I put the books away and I haven't read them since. However, I have seen the movies a ton. I got the extended edition and I have watched them too many times. I've probably seen the 9-hour behind the scenes even more, though. My favorite rewatched as... Wow, I'm sorry. My last rewatched as probably 3 or 4 years ago. I made my poor college roommate watch them. I only own the extended editions at that point. That's the only edition to own, so you're fine.
Yep.
I've seen all the Hobbit movies, but not more than once. Actually, what got me into a Tolkien mood was playing the Hobbit Lego game. I've played the Lord of the Rings game as well, but I think it was too connected with the movie to trigger a desire to revisit the books. Anyway, I've discovered your podcast at the perfect time. It helped me get even more from and really learn to love the books. I'm going to read along with you. I actually watched the old Hobbit animated film with my boyfriend today, and it was hilarious/amazing. Sorry for writing such a long thing. No apologies necessary, Hannah.
Hannah, you could apologize though for putting it on the very I couldn't find it. Okay, so I'm just kidding.
We had to take.
I'm
a,
kidding.
We had to take a break.
We had to take
And
a break.
Ez had to dig that out.
I
and
literally,
I found it in 2 seconds.
She moved it, and so
Well, I
like,
just did a search.
yeah, Lane said, okay, whatever.
I don't know anything technologically, but I got Ez on that one.
Well, here's the thing, guys. It's led us to because we get new people listening and wanting to send in their wanting to join the community and join the discussion, and I love that.
Yeah.
And your stories, that is such a good story, and I love hearing that. And we've heard people, tell their stories about how they bonded with a family member or a significant other,
or overcame a struggle with reading.
Exactly.
Through these books. It's pretty
Or
amazing.
just hard times in life.
Yeah.
I think back to I'm friends with Nicole Whitaker and just some of what she's gone through in life and how
don't forget the sniffing.
Exactly. Don't forget it, Nicole. And it's what it can get you through in life. Yeah. And I think that it's been that for me in different areas of my life. So I love hearing those, but I guess my plea here and what I'm pushing is it's hard to kind of find these sometimes. And Lane and I are like, we spend a good 15, 20 minutes, actually maybe longer than that, gathering those, which 15, is a great, days. Guys, hear me out here. It's a great thing. So it's not like a bad, but we're afraid we're going to miss some.
And we are missing stuff. And that's what we don't want to do. And so that's why also we want to do the Bywater Post episodes is so we can dedicate it just to that.
Right. But for the time being, though, that's going to be probably a summer project. But what I would like to do is if we have not read your story and it was posted somewhere, please shoot us an email. Like just copy and paste it, or if you don't mind to retype it, if you send it an email, I have a folder that is literally just labeled Bywater Post, and it's Tolkien stories, and there's stories about how you got into, Lord of the Rings, and The Hobbit, and stuff like that. So please send those to anunexpectedpod@gmail.com, and we'll make sure, like I said, it'll go right in the folder. I've got a read folder and an unread folder, and that keeps us on better track, and that way we won't worry about losing, because they get buried in the threads, it just takes a while. I mean, my Mac almost just caught on fire trying to get to the bottom of that.
As his fingers were smoking.
It's an old Mac. It's really old. But anyways, so thank you, Hannah, though. We really do. We really do appreciate it.
Beautiful.
So, all right, my friend.
Man.
Yeah. It's been a ride tonight.
Yes, it has been.
Yeah, it's
we're exhausted too, aren't we?
We are, by the way. So we apologize.
Yes,
but,
especially myself. If I sound a little, I'm just tired.
Well,
I will get better.
He's 13, guys. He's up way past his bedtime. Okay,
it's all the hormones. Let's do real quick strawberries with cream.
Sure.
All right. Fog got the best of us this episode.
It did.
But as everyone wants to know, and I want to know too, what's your perfect weather? And tell us why it speaks to you.
Did you write that? Are you serious? Molten hot days because I'm evil. Let me tell you right now. I'm into cold weather. Okay. So
you like wintertime, don't you?
I love it.
I like wintertime too.
I like the fall and I like the winter. So when it gets hot,
do you like snow? You like a lot of snow?
No, I mean it's fine. I don't.
Okay. If it's cool and crisp.
Yeah, if it comes, if snow happens to be there, cool, whatever.
I'm the same way. I'm a sucker for a really good sky. So I usually get those on cool, crisp days. She also has some sun coming through. I love clouds. I actually love the different types of clouds. But my favorite is cirrus stratus. Those high, wispy, look like horsetail, just freaking icy clouds that you just wish you could just jump through and eat.
Yeah.
I love those.
Good.
They're just beautiful. So anytime, like this morning, actually, I was walking into school. I looked up and I was like, oh my gosh, there's cirrus stratus. Got to take a picture. And I had my hands full. I was like, sir, I got to do this. I set all my stuff down because I don't have a window in my room anymore. So I took a picture of it, and it was just beautiful. Just these high, wispy, crisp clouds set against a blue sky. I mean, you could dream all day with those.
It's fantastic.
With that.
That sounds beautiful. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. So, all right, guys.
That's just me. That's me.
That's just lame. Okay. Strawberries with cream. Appreciate it. If you guys have ideas for that too, send them our way.
Ezra's fed up with my ideas, apparently. So
yeah, no.
You know what? This is probably going to be our last podcast.
They just get me. I never know what you're going to put in there, so it's always a surprise. So it's good. It's really good. All right. We are going to quickly share the load. I'd just like to mention that we have some stuff over on patreon.com.
Plenty of stuff.
Plenty of stuff there. We've got some appendices stuff. This is about the time. We're not going to be able to film one tonight. Film. I keep saying film. Record.
We did one earlier.
Yeah, we did. We did one earlier.
We did one before we started.
Right. But we get kind of slap happy, and we've had a few beverages, and so we normally turn it right into. We'll hit end here, and we'll turn on the appendices, and we'll get after it. So that goodness is over on patreon.com. So please check that out.
Check it out.
All right, and also follow us on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook at UpTalkingTolkien, and that's it, guys. We've shared the load.
We have shared the load. We want to thank you for stepping off the road with us. Our next episode will be digging deep into Chapter 9 at the Sign of the Prancing Pony. We're getting there, guys.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's going to be one of your favorites.
I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
You're ready for...
Get my boy in there.
My boy.
Let's get my boy in there, my king.
Call him up. Call him up.
That's right.
All right.
Lefty.
If you like our podcast, don't forget to subscribe, like us, write a review, or leave a comment, or send us a Shadowfax.
We'll see you in a fortnight, and remember, Frodo lives.